High school football is on the air. This evening, live from the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex, it's the annual Battle of the Capitol Bowl, as Cheyenne East will play host to Cheyenne Central. High school football on 1480 KRAE is being brought to you by our fine sports sponsors. Now, let's send it out to the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex for the annual Capitol Bowl, as Cheyenne East will entertain Cheyenne Central. Before the opening kickoff, let's check in with our pregame show right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne.
Good evening. Welcome from the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. Larry Proietti. We welcome back Chris Polton. Along with Nick Proietti, we are high atop as we get ready for the annual Capitol Bowl Series, as it is in favor of Cheyenne Central. Central has dominated in the decade of the in the century of the 2000s. Right. In the 21st century, it has been more of Cheyenne East. Tonight's game being brought to you by Kuzma Success Realty. We also want to thank Arrow Moving and Storage, B&B Appliance and TV, Baskin-Robbins, Billy Adelman with the LCCC Flight Crew, the Bread Basket Bakery, Burns Insurance Company, Capital Lumber Company, Charles Schwab, Shine Auto Repair and Service, Chick-fil-A, Fat Boys Tire and Auto, First Education Federal Credit Union, Foot of the Rockies, Halliday Motors, High West Energy, Joet Produce, Key of Cheyenne, Laramie County Community College, CRMC, Cheyenne Regional Medical Center, the Injury Prevention Program. I bring in my broadcast partner for the evening. And again, the trio is up here. Nick Proietti, who joined me last week, up here as well, taking care of all of the filming for us, for those of you on Periscope, via Twitter, and on the YouTube site. But Chris, we have been with Cheyenne Central now for the last couple of weekends. And again, the War Tribe looked good at Casper Kelly Walsh in conditions that are pretty much similar to what we're seeing tonight.
Yeah, and again, we talked about it from the very first week that we saw them against Sheridan. It just seems like every single week they get better. And a big test tonight, as you know, probably since the first time in a while, probably 2015 playoffs when they met. No game has had this much on the line when it comes to playoff implications, as the winner may have the headline, or at least the head start to home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs.
Tonight's game also being brought to you by MHP LLP, Lennox Auto Body, Little Philly, Mary's Mountain Cookies, Medicap Pharmacy, Meridian Trust, FCU, Merritt Plumbing and Heating, Page and Zach Lane at Number One Properties, Pepsi of Cheyenne with our Pepsi scoreboard, Pete's Builders, Platte Valley Bank, Taco John's, the Gill Window Company, and the Wyoming Department of Transportation. You know, Chris, as you look at the standings today, 4 and 5. Look pretty good there with Cheyenne Central and Cheyenne East. Oh, by the way, 4 and 5. That's where they're at in this week's Class 4A poll. So again, you get a feeling tonight that way too much is on the line for this game, and to be real honest, it is. A win by either team vaults them into that number 4 spot, or for Cheyenne East gives them a good hold. But by losing tonight, for Cheyenne Central or East, you're locked in that number 5 spot.
Absolutely, and the other team really, if you think about it, has a 2-game lead on you, because the tiebreaker would go to the team that wins with that head-to-head battle. You know, it's funny because East, in their wins, they've blown out teams. The close games is what they've lost. The 2 games they've lost have been single-possession games. It was where they got 17 unanswered scored against them against Thunder Basin, and the triple overtime loss to Natrona. Whereas with Central, they've really done a good job not just staying in games against some of the better teams, but putting away teams early too. So for Central, if you're the Indians, you need to keep it close early, because we've seen East not be able to finish in the fourth quarter on those games that have been close.
Well, in the last couple of weekends, we've called the name Carter Lobatos quite a bit, right, both defensively and offensively. And again, on the other side of the field, one Christian Anderton. So I think tonight the running backs are going to be featured. And again, it will be a feel-out process with the weather. The winds right now out of a west-northwest direction to about 20 miles an hour. We'll see how much it affects the kicking game, the punting game. It also, these teams are not afraid to pass the football in whatever weather condition. Dawson McCleary last week at Casper Kelly Walsh had a little bit of a rough go when he had the wind behind him, because he was overshooting his on the long routes. He was shooting Johnson by about 5-6 yards. So again, I'm sure with the way weather conditions changed this week for both teams, they had an opportunity to work in these winter-like conditions, and I would venture to say that both teams are going to be ready to go. I'm glad the sun is out. The snow has been cleared off the field. We're expecting a game-time temperature right around 32 degrees, so make sure you're bringing out a blanket and plenty of outerwear for tonight, because it's going to get a little nippy. I think by the time games end, it's going to be down around 25 degrees. But this is football weather here in Cheyenne, and a game that has a lot of meaning for the first time in many years.
It has, and I think it's a great point you bring up about the running backs. The one big difference is Carl Labatos is asked to do a lot on the defensive side. What kind of effect will that have with Labatos, who runs the ball, whereas on the other side, Anderton doesn't play every single down, and he plays in the secondary, not as a linebacking position. But, you look at everything, you see the skill players. You see Johnson, number 2 receiver in the state. You see Miller, number 1 receiver in the state. Those guys, you're going to see some big plays, but it's who's going to who's going to be better on the ground game. I think whoever can keep one defense off on the field the longest will have much more success, especially in the fourth quarter. And, of course, how do you keep a team on the field longer? You pound. You pound the ball between the tackles.
And a good sustained drive always will wear the other team down, as Casper Kelly-Walsh tried to do that last week against the Central defense. One thing that we're seeing, too, the Hosses up front. Central, all juniors. And again, too, and a sophomore, you look at Cheyenne East, they got a couple of seniors anchoring that line. Again, this is a line that was, put together by Chad Goff at the beginning of the year. He had question marks. They have pretty much answered the call. Both teams, as a matter of fact, both offenses right now, I think are both tough to stop. So, again, you could put out any defense you want. This thing has the earmark of who has the football last. This could be a high-scoring shootout. But, again, I don't know what Mother Nature is going to do with this ball game tonight as well.
It could play a role. And, when it's cold, it hits it kind of hesitates you with that first hit when it's this cold, because it's going to hurt a little bit more. So it's who's going to come out and punch each other in the mouth. Now, I did talk to one of the assistant coaches with East, and they said this is probably the scariest front four they faced all season. And they've already played Thunder Basin. They've already played Natrona County. They really respect this front four on defense in Tanner Bullock, Lumberg, and Kostelecki. They say they are a lot to handle, and it's going to be a really big test for this line, who up until this season did not have a lot of varsity experience.
And, of course, with Cheyenne East, their front is not that bad either on the defensive side, and they got some very active linebackers. If anything is going to be tested tonight, and I think all of us will agree up here, will be both secondaries are going to be very much tested this evening. We're going to take a timeout. We got a lengthy pregame show. We are going to chat first with Jerry Slabs, the Cheyenne East Athletic Director. We'll follow that up with our Mountain West Conference schedule. We also have on tap for you our opposing coach segment, which will be Central head coach Mike Apodaca. We'll also chat with Chad Goff, and we'll get you caught up on this week in Class 4A football. That's all still to come right here on 14K80 KRAE. We're back after this timeout.
College has been something that's always been on the back of my mind.
This is where I found what I wanted, one of my passions, what I really love to do.
In class, I feel more engaged.
The people here do care about you, and they want to help you succeed in life.
They make it so easy to be a parent and be able to still go to school.
I like the way I'm improving.
I love being, part of the WHSAA family, and I'm glad I made this step in my life.
Right now, it's our pleasure to talk with Cheyenne East Athletic Director Jerry Slabs as we get ready for Cheyenne East and Cheyenne Central, the Capital Bowl. Real quick, Jerry, before we get into the program, had the chance to talk with Chad about this, so let's get your thoughts. School District Board of Trustees voted in softball for girls fast pitch for Cheyenne East, Cheyenne Central, as well as Cheyenne South. Give me your thoughts on the board's decision.
I think it's a great decision, actually, and obviously we've had a lot of conversation over the last 2 years about it, and I know we talked previously on your show as well, but it's I think it's going to be positive for kids, and it's going to be positive for, especially the female athletes within the state. And, there's obviously been a big interest in that. There's still some things we have to figure out, but, now that we know it's moving forward, that's obviously going to get a little bit easier as far as figuring out when we have to hire coaches and the equipment we need and the facilities and so on and so forth. But I know we're going to do some nail down some interest inventories here at in the next couple of months as well to kind of see exactly where we're at. But overall, I think it's a really positive, and I think it's going to, we'll see how it starts out, but I think it'll grow and grow and grow and hopefully become a great event for the girls in our community.
I know you're one of those guys that doesn't wait till the last minute. So have you already put some works in motion, so to speak?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've had so many conversations with the rec softball community and the club softball community, and there's been we sat down at the table so many times in the last about year and a half that there's been just a ton of conversations about a lot of different things. And so we've already started getting calls on people who might be interested in coaching. We have to figure out if we're going to have is it the varsity coach, a varsity and a JV coach. And like you said, working with Mr. Bartlett from the district and Dr. Brown, they're already started talking with the city about facilities. And so there are a lot of things that are kind of starting to get the ball rolling right now. And then that's only going to obviously continue and get a little bit more intense as the months go by.
And, looking at the young ladies who will have this opportunity to participate, not just those that are on club teams, but those that also play on rec teams, but maybe someone that wants to play fast pitch but really doesn't go out for any athletic events. It has to be something that bodes well with all of these schools that'll have that opportunity to offer this extra sport.
Absolutely. It's when you offer new sport, you don't want to take from the other sports that already have kids participating. You want it to be an activity or whatever happens to be, in this case, obviously a sport, that you're going to get kids who aren't doing something at that time to come out and participate. And I think softball will do that. We have, it's obviously it may take some kids from soccer and track, but I think there's a large group of kids that play softball during that time already that are going to be able to now play for their school. And like you said, there's kids who probably haven't played competitively, that's going to be a great avenue for them to kind of get involved in a school sport that maybe they haven't done in the past. And so I think you nailed it. It's just an opportunity for kids that may not be doing something or may not be doing something during that time that now are going to have an opportunity to be a part of something. And, obviously all the sports are a big deal, but it's just being part of a team and being part of that school culture and community is very positive no matter what you're involved in.
Real quick while we have a chance here, and we'll get into the bulk of our conversation, especially this big football game, but talk about your fall sports, a lot of it wrapping up. And again, I know football has still got about 3 weeks of the regular season left, and then we'll go on to playoffs. But some very positive events happen for you on the fall sports side.
Yeah, without a doubt. We've, as you know, we've wrapped up golf and we've wrapped up tennis, cross country. They have their regional meet, their conference meet next week in state in 2 weeks. And so things are winding down. It goes fast. It seems like it goes faster every year, but we've had some very positive outcomes. Our golf team, our boys golf team, who's kind of been in the mix for the last 4 years, they once again were right there and had some very positive finishes. We had a pretty young tennis team, but they had a very solid year for us. We struggled at times to get a lot of girls out for tennis, and we had a ton of girls come out for tennis this year, which is really positive, and they're young and they did very well. The same with our cross country team. We struggled at times to have, to field 7 girls on a cross country team last year. And now we have, 20 girls out for cross country, and they're finishing well. Our boys and girls both just won the Wheatland Invite last week, and they finished in the top 5 multiple times this year. Girls swim, Coach Anderson, he's in his second year as our head coach. He's also the coach at the junior high, so that's a program where he's just working on building numbers right now, and so we're getting kids out for that. So some of those sports people really don't hear about, those are kind of finishing up right now or have finished, and there's just a lot of positive things going on, and it goes back to the same thing we said about softball. We're just getting a lot of kids out and a lot of participation, and that's very, very positive. And then with volleyball and football, like you said, which we'll talk about, our volleyball team they've had a great year so far. They've lost 3 games, I believe, and so all you can ask in high school sports is to kind of be in the mix and have a chance to be competitive. And I think we've done that at East High School, and we kind of hopefully reload each year versus rebuilding.
You know, I'm excited to call this game Friday with East and Central. For once, and over the last few years, this has a lot of relevance to the standings. But I'm going to put you on the spot real quick here in my final question. You've had the opportunity, player, coach, and athletic director. Give us your thoughts about East Central, this matchup as a player. Give me your thoughts as a coach, because you've been on that side of that fence before, and now as the athletic director.
You bet. I mean, as a player, it's just really fun. I think the kids all know each other. They play sports together in the off season if they're baseball players or softball players or whatever that happens to be. There's a lot of opportunities where they get together and do things. So for the kids, it's just a really great atmosphere. We have Colorado officials that come down sometimes and do our basketball games, and even those guys say they don't officiate a game that's the same intensity and the same environment and the same fun as our East Central basketball games. You could say the same about any of the crosstown rivalry games. So I think as a player, it's fun, it's nerve-wracking, it's exciting, but it's just a great experience for someone this young to be able to kind of be a participant in something like that the community really gets behind, and the atmosphere is as fun as it is. As a coach, I would say it's nerve-wracking because everyone says it every year, and every time we play, you can throw the records out. It's very, very true. You kind of laugh when you say it, but I've coached teams that I thought we were way better. I've coached teams where I thought Central may have been better at the time I was coaching, but every game is a battle, and it doesn't matter what your record is. It always seems like it's a close game, always seems like it's a really good game. And but at the same time, similar to the kids, it's a really fun game to coach in, and it's exciting to be a part of. And like you said, when the teams are pretty evenly matched like they are this year, I think that just adds a little bit more to the table and makes it even that much more fun. And so it's a good time. And then as an AD, you can just kind of step back and enjoy it a little bit more, I guess. It's you obviously still want our teams to win and have success and root for our kids, but it's just fun to see the community kind of come together and provide an atmosphere for our student athletes that is pretty special, and that's the things that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives.
As before we let you go, and I'm going to put you on the spot, and if you can't come up with one, that's great. Best East Central memory in your life?
Oh gosh, for us, back when I played, and as you know, I played for Central, so we had some good games with East back as a player. I'll tell you, just a couple of years ago, it's one of the most recent ones, and I don't know if it's the best one in my life. It's just coming off the top of my head. We were heavily favored against Central 2 years ago over at Okie Blanchard, and Central came out and just kind of took it to us for about 3.5 quarters, and we were kind of done, and I didn't think there was really a chance that we were going to be able to pull it out, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, momentum swung our way, and we had about 3 scores, I think, and just had some big plays. The ball bounced our way, as we know has to happen a little bit, and had a great comeback where we kind of won in the last minute of the game. And that was an exciting game for our school and for our kids and our team. But yeah, there's a ton of them. I'd say, obviously, back when I was a player, we won state my senior year. We had to go to Evanston, and we had a great game in Rock Springs in the semifinals. And so obviously winning state, that has to be at the top as well. But just a lot of fun memories as player and coach.
That's Cheyenne East Athletic Director Jerry Slabs on 1480 KRAE. We're going to take a timeout. We got more of our pregame show coming up after these words. This weekend in the Mountain West Conference, all games are Mo West games except for one that will be happening tomorrow afternoon. On tap for this evening, 6 p.m., it will be Colorado State at New Mexico at Dreamstyle Stadium in Albuquerque. They'll kick off at 6 p.m. The lone non-conference matchup will have the UNLV Rebels at Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. They'll kick off at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Also at 2 p.m. Mountain Time, the Nevada Wolfpack at Mackey Stadium in Reno. They'll entertain the San Jose State Spartans. Fresno State will be on the road. They'll take on the Air Force Falcons. That'll be a 5 p.m. kickoff at Falcon Stadium at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Boise State will have the 8:15 contest on ESPN2 as they'll entertain Hawaii at Albertson Stadium in Boise, and the late-night contest at 8:30 in San Diego, California. The San Diego State Aztecs will host the Wyoming Cowboys. We'll take a timeout. We'll have more of our pregame show with our opposing coach segment after these words right here on 1480 KRAE. Right now we're talking with Central Indians head coach Mike Apodaca. Coach, let's look back on the win at Casper Kelly Walsh. It almost seemed like you came in there on a 3-game win streak and Mother Nature was not going to work in your favor, especially with that big win. And, and then Coach McKelkey also had a pretty good game plan in place too, where he wanted to keep your defense out of the field. But somehow, some way, your Indians did okay and came away with a big victory.
Yeah, I thought offensively, we did pretty well considering the conditions. I mean, came out and scored early and kept it on our side, which was a good thing. And kind of stalled a couple times in the third quarter. But, and defensively, early on we kind of got punched in the mouth with that long run, and I think that gave them a lot of momentum, and made it a good game. But I was proud of our kids the way they hung in there.
One thing also, too, and I always look at different aspects of the ball game, and your kicker, Tegan Tippett, who we're seeing a lot of improvement in this young man, and we're seeing more confidence, and you showed confidence in him, even with the wind at his back, where he hit that big 40-yard field goal for you. But it's interesting because I've covered a lot of Cheyenne Central football over the years, and Central has been a hotbed for, kickers that can boot it a long way. I think of matter of fact, back in your time, Miles Cumberpatch, there was a McMines kid. Central's always had a good stable of kickers.
It's really nice to have. That was a big score there in late in I guess it was third quarter, early fourth, whenever it was, but kind of put us 2 scores up. So that was a huge kick, and Tegan does have a big leg, and he's starting to get more consistent with it. And it helps there. It helps in our kickoffs, as well when our defense can give the opponent a long field. So really glad he's around and starting to really, come around as a kicker.
With your 4th straight victory, and we talked about it last week, practices, but, I remember the old days where the coach says, be coachable. I have a feeling now as you get your young men together along with your coaching staff that this team is very coachable right now and willing to and eager to learn more.
They are, and what you really enjoy seeing this week is just that added level of focus for them. I'm not sure we've seen that yet, and I think they're starting to enjoy this winning, and maybe more importantly, being competitive piece of it. And so there's a little bit of added focus for them this week. They know it's a big game in all facets, and it's fun to see them rise to the occasion that way.
Coach, I'm going to take you back in time, East Central, and again, East was struggling back in the day when you were playing. They've been more relevant here at the turn of the century, but it's still East Central. It was a rivalry, and I guess let me get your thoughts on what it was like gearing up for East Central.
I mean, I'm not sure that there's any better games than rivalry games. I mean, if you can't get excited about them, really no matter, and it's so cliche, but really no matter what the record is, it's just, it means a lot to the community. And so I know these kids, on both sides are probably really pumped to be able to play it. And, it's nice to be in it where it's, you'd like to believe somewhat of a relevant game. I know for us it is, in terms of, trying to continue on winning and maybe making a run in late October. So I know our kids are excited about it. And these are the games in October that you want to be a part of that are meaningful. And so, we're excited to have the opportunity.
Both you and Cheyenne East are 4-2, and whoever loses the game is going to still be entrenched in that number 5 hole, and the winner is going to be in the top 4. I guess, Coach, as you look ahead towards this game, what are some of the keys for your team to remain hot?
I think defensively we've got to try to limit their big plays. They've got some explosive kids, and both at the receiver and quarterback position, even the running back position. We just got to limit our big plays and hopefully make them kind of drive the football a little bit. So I think defensively that's going to be really important. And then on the flip side, offensively, we really try to focus on moving the chains and keep the ball out of their hands. And so you know how it is, Larry, in these games. Some of the big factors will be things like turnovers and special teams. I'd like to believe that the teams on paper are pretty evenly matched, and it really comes down at this point to who takes care of the ball and maybe gets something going on the special teams.
We have been blessed through the first 6 weeks, and again, last week was an exception to the rule, and of course you've had a couple of the lightning games over at Risky Field, but weather-wise it's been okay for this football season. But we're looking at a game possibly Friday night under the lights at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex, where weather's going to come into play. Could be colder, could be wet. We don't know, again, from the possible storm that's headed our way. But do you have an alternate package, Coach? Again, you have your basic offensive package that you've been running for the last few weeks, but if you have weather situations, do you change things up a little bit?
I'd like to believe that we don't. I think, honestly, something like wind probably, to me, creates more of issues in the passing game, for instance, than even moisture, to be honest with you. Now, I'm sure there's points where, it's just out of control. But, yeah, I mean, we always have something in. But, we're trying to be balanced either way. And if the game dictates that we need to try to run a little bit more, that, we feel comfortable in doing that as well. But, we feel like that, our kids can manage whatever the weather presents.
And final thought, in this day and age, sometimes rivalry games are, they are what they are, I guess, with these younger guys compared to your day and my day when we got ramped up for these big rivalry games. But a lot of these guys, they play ball together or they hang out together during the summer, whatever the case may be. But how do you get these guys fired up to step onto the field against Cheyenne East?
I think you're right, and I think in maybe a healthy way, it is good that these guys have those extra friendships. And honestly, we did too, especially if you're a baseball player back in the day. We were always combined with post six and those sorts of things. So there's still something. It's not any different than, a sibling, type of thing. I mean, you still love each other at the end, but when it's time to roll, it's, you still want that upper hand. So I think these kids, we haven't had to do too much to put out the importance of this game. But I think, we're really focusing, because it's so important at this level of the program right now, that, the main focus right now is trying to figure out how to get better and get another win. And, if it happens to come against a rival, that's great. But we really want to focus on those 2 points right now.
And final thought, in addition to this game, and I think back to the old days too, when we were at the old Oakey Blanchard Stadium, you guys never felt like that was your home field because you always had to get dressed and hang your clothes on a nail. But bottom line is, you're at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex Friday, and then your last 2 games are at Milt Risky Field. You have to feel pretty good for the next 3 weekends. You're going to be sleeping in your own bed.
I'll tell you what, you don't appreciate it until you have to go on one of those long road trips. But absolutely, it's nice to be local for the next 3 weeks, and maybe in the end of it, just getting a little bit more rest for these kids will pay off. So we're excited, and we're excited, that the community would be out there supporting it and supporting these kids on both sides of it. I think it's great for the community, and hopefully we can all put on a good show.
Cheyenne Central Indians head coach Mike Apodaca. We will take a timeout. We'll come back with more after these words right here on 1480 KRAE. Right now we're talking with Cheyenne East head coach Chad Goff. Coach, real quick, as we will ramp up towards the game between Cheyenne Central, but I want to look back last week against the Laramie Plainsmen, and again, coming off the double overtime loss to Casper Natrona. I know you have a good feel for your team, but did you know what to expect last week when your team took the field against the Plainsmen?
Yeah, we kind of had an idea that we would bounce a little bit. They bounced well after the loss to Thunder Basin, and so I thought they responded. The first half wasn't the best half in the world, but you could tell we were right on the brink of kind of opening it up a little bit, and I really thought the second half they responded to the challenges we set forth at halftime.
As you look at your team right now, as you enter this weekend's contest, tell me right now, what is still a deficiency on the team that you would like to see improve before the season's end?
Just the consistency. I think there's been games where we've gotten points almost every possession. There's been games where we've had to punt too many times, and so offensively we just got to become more consistent. Same defensively, I think, consistency there. There's games where we hold teams to less than 100 yards rushing, and then there's games where we give up more than 100 yards rushing. So we got to get that, and then I think special teams, we just need to have a big play sometime on special teams. We need to score some points on special teams at some point.
I asked Coach Apodaca this, and I'm going to ask you the same question as well. Do you have a certain package put together for a weather change? And I'm talking about in case we do get the snowfall that is expected or the cold temperatures. Do you have another game plan in place, or do you pretty much stay towards the vest with what you currently run?
I would say we stay with what we currently run. Obviously, we work the run a little bit more on weeks like this, but it's hard to believe the weather reports until kickoff, and so to change everything, to me, just wouldn't be that productive for us.
You look at this rivalry, and again, you have been on the sidelines of this rivalry for a long time right now. Again, I know you don't get caught up into it as much as the kids do, but is it still something that motivates the kids as they're in practice during the week?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit to it still. Today's world is so much different, living in the same town, growing up and playing on travel teams with these kids and things like that. It's not what I would say you and I grew up with as far as a rivalry. It's just a little bit different. I think the rivalry still stands, no doubt about it, but I think it's more on the adults and their pride than it is on the kids. I think the kids just love to go play the game. So it is a little bit different.
But from a standing standpoint and a coaching standpoint, this one is a pretty big one on the schedule. It has a lot of significance. Win, you're in that top four. If you lose, you're in that number 5 hole.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's what we put ourselves in a position to have to play that way, to almost be in a playoff already. Like we talked to our kids about early on in the season, there's certain games that if you don't win them, they're going to come back and bite you later on, and we've already dropped 2 games, and so we've kind of put ourselves in a playoff situation having to win if we want to have a home playoff game.
You know, I look back on the game that we did last week at Casper Kelly Walsh, and with that particular game, Coach McKelkey tried to keep that defense on the field for Cheyenne Central and trying to, keep that potent offense off the field. But as you've looked at Cheyenne Central, you see improvements on both sides of the football.
Yeah, no doubt. I think they're getting more comfortable as the season goes on. I think they're making some good connections on offense, reading some things right defensively. I think their defensive line is a pretty big strength for them. I think they do good things, and so it should definitely be a great game.
And one final thought, as you look at your team, secondary is going to be tested this weekend. Are they up for that challenge?
I guess we're going to find that out. They've done some good things in the past. They held up a little bit against Thunderbirds and kind of had some miscues here and there, and hopefully we got those worked out. But they're definitely going to have to be on their game. But that as well goes to the defensive line. We can't let McCleary just set his feet. He's got to have some happy feet back there, and we got to be in his face as much as possible.
Cheyenne East head coach Chad Goff will take a timeout. We're back with more right here on 1480 KRAE. The Class 4A football schedule, in addition to our game, features these games on tap for tonight. Campbell County will play host to the Sheridan Bronx. Casper Kelly Walsh will be on the road. They will be across town to take on the Casper Natrona Mustangs at Cheney Alumni Field in the annual Oil Bowl. The Laramie Plainsmen will pay a visit to Fightin' Bison Stadium to take on the South High Fightin' Bison. And the Rock Springs Tigers will have a date with the Thunder Basin Bolts. They will play host to them in Rock Springs. We'll have the starting lineups after these words right here on 1480 KRAE.
Now 5 minutes away from the opening kickoff. East won the toss. They deferred to the second half. Again, this is an east-west field here at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. So Cheyenne Central will have the offensive unit on the field first. Let's give you the offensive lineup for Cheyenne Central. At right tackle will be Mark Martinez, 6 foot, 192, and a junior. He will be on the other side of Aiden Miller. He is 6'1", 180, and a junior. The right guard is Joey Kostelecki, 5'11", 180, and a junior. senior. And the left guard will be T.J. Wilson. He's 5'10", 245, and a junior. And the center will be Jimmy Koenig. He's 5'11", 236, and a junior. All young veterans of this team. In the backfield, it'll be Dawson McCleary. He's 6'2", 180, and a senior. He's joined by 5'11", 170-pound junior Carter Labatos. On the wings, it'll be Nathaniel Talich, 6'2", 156, and a sophomore. Andrew Johnson, 6 foot 155, and a junior. Brady Storbo, who is 6'5", 234, and a junior at one tight end position. And at another wing, it will be Brock Storbo, 6'5", 234, and a junior. The head coach is Mike Apodaca, second season with the Cheyenne Central Indians, 4-2 on the season. And we're going to take a 60-second timeout of the East defense when we come back.
Go ahead and go with the defense now, the 3-4 defense for Coach Chad Goff and the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds. In their front three, Aiden Montoya, Zach Higgins, and Julian Vigil. The linebackers, Trey Bauer, Dakota Heckman, Jarrett Taylor, and Shea Ellis. And the secondary, Ox Schroeder, Colton Haugen, Chance Allmiller, Jackson Hesford, as we get set for kickoff.
Gavin Goff will have it teed up at the 40-yard line. Back deep will be Talich along with Johnson for Cheyenne Central. And check that for Cheyenne Central. It won't be Talich. It looks like it's going to be Uriah Furrow. Goff has his hands up. The whistle has been blown. And it's time to play football. The Capital Bowl right here on 1480 KRAE. Goff will put a foot into it, keep it down low, and it will end up in the short. It is Talich picking it up at the 27, 30-yard line, 35 to the 40-yard line for Cheyenne Central. It's the Indians. Great field position to start things off in their travel white uniforms, red numerals, red pants, and again the headdress on the helmet. I like that headdress look this year for Cheyenne Central.
Add a little intimidation there with the helmets.
For the East Thunderbirds, they're going to be in their home black with the powder blue numerals, white outline. And here comes the Central offense onto the field. They'll be going right to left. Across your radio dial as well as YouTube and Periscope via Twitter. Dawson McCleary, Carter Labatos in the backfield. They're in tight on a first down and 10 on the 40-yard line. In motion will be Johnson. They'll pitch it back to Johnson. Johnson looking for a block and nowhere to go and will struggle back to the line of scrimmage.
Good job there by East on the containment as they try to go a little bit of misdirection with the kind of the fly sweep there on the outside.
Hash mark to the near side for Central. Second down and 10 just underway at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. Johnson along with the Storbos out on top. Talich to the near side. McCleary retreats back to the gun about 2 yards behind him. 3 yards behind him is Carter Labatos. McCleary back to pass. Two-step drop, fires, little fire up, caught. And that'll be Brock Storbo making the grab. Cheyenne Central into East territory at the 49, 11 yards on the gain.
On the strike, on the quick hitter, it looked like they had set up the bubble screen outside, which they'd love to throw to, but a good job misdirection there and a good catch there by Storbo.
So for Cheyenne Central, correct, that was Brady Storbo making the grab. My bad. First down and 10, ball on the 49-yard line as the Indians will get the game's first down. In motion this time is Brady Storbo, and McCleary rolls to his left, steps up, throws. He's got Storbo again, and he'll be driven out of bounds On the East 38-yard line, another 11-yard pickup and another first down for Cheyenne Central.
We've seen this a lot early. They like to get their big guys in space in one of the Storbos, and here Brady starting off hot, getting in space and getting first downs.
Brady, 6'5", 234. Oh, by the way, Brock, 6'5", and 234. Obviously eat at the same restaurant, Hotel Mom. Now Central will redirect the offense as they get a play update from the sidelines as McCleary sets the offense. First down and 10, ball on 38 of the T-Birds. Back to pass goes McCleary. He's flushed out. He rolls, throws it up for grabs, and it's going to be incomplete. Johnson was headed towards the left side. The pass over his right shoulder pad, and incomplete.
Good job there by the front seven, really, because they brought a blitz, did East, and if it wasn't for that blitz forcing McCleary to the other side, McCleary would have seen Talich, who beat Ommiller off the line and had about 5 yards of clearance between him and Ommiller.
And when you get McCleary to throw off his back foot, that usually is going to be an incomplete pass. When he has time to set, that's when he can murder you. Second down and 10 for the for the Indians, and we'll probably make that mistake about 1,009 times tonight. And it's tough, too, for me because, I'm going to like both teams all the way through this game. In motion is Brady Storbo. They'll take the handoff to Lobato, so a little fire up, and there's going to be a flag that comes in from the secondary. And what do we have?
It could be a holding call. It kind of came from that official as he's pointing over towards the central side. McCleary on that pass threw that a little bit behind Storbo. The timing was just messed up just a tiny bit, and this is a timing offense, so it's going to be huge.
And they're going to wave off the flag, and it will be third down. So no flag on the play as the referee says nope. So third down and 10 for the Indians. Ball resting on the T-Bird 38-yard line.
Got two of the premier quarterbacks tonight, probably two of the top three. Not probably, they are two of the top three quarterbacks in the state, with the other one being out of Thunder Basin and Mason Hamilton.
And, you look here with the Indians are on a 4-game win streak right now, so a lot to play for in this contest. Again, a meaningful contest. McCleary rolls to his right. He's hit as he throws, fires it up. Nice grab along the sidelines. No. They're going to say across the way Johnson did not have his feet in bounds. Incomplete, and the Indians will be faced with a fourth down.
I believe that was Jarrett Taylor with the big hit on McCleary as he was throwing.
So with that being said, it is fourth down for the Indians. Right now, no punting unit has stepped on the field. Johnson would be your man to punt the football.
They say they still have third down on the marker, so I wonder if they either missed a down
or they wiped.
They wiped the flag off. They didn't call it, so it should have been.
Maybe the play was wiped dead prior to the start of it. So again, for the Indians, so we'll see third down for Cheyenne Central. So again, we were a play behind. Again, when they wiped off the flag, that's what we thought it was. Just the penalty was null. And here we go with the Indians right now in motion as Talich. Back to pass to McCleary. Steps up, throws, and it's almost picked off. Almost picked off by Trey Bauer.
Bauer almost had that one go right through his hands, but the line got a piece of it. And that's one thing that's going to be important because McCleary likes to get rid of the ball quickly. So if you're the line and can't get there, get your hands up, and right there paid big dividends, as now it will be fourth down.
Yes, and technically 4 straight incompletes for McCleary, but 3 that will go down officially in the book. So back deep will be Johnson. He'll be on his side of the 50-yard line, right around the 47. Back deep for Cheyenne East. As we'll take a look, it looks like it's going to be Jackson Hesford. And the boot, nice kick, and it'll take a central turn and go out of bounds at the 3. So the East T-Birds backed up in their own backyard here at Oakey Blanchard Stadium.
Well, and this has been an offense that has really done a great job to score early in both Central and East. So East coming up with that big stop. And for McCleary, he wasn't comfortable on that first, at least in those last 3 plays in the pocket.
So for the T-Birds, they'll come out with Graydon Buell, as he is the junior quarterback. He'll have Christian Anderton behind him. On the wings will be Jackson Hesford, along with Chance Allmiller, Cole Michaeli, and Ox Schroeder. In the end zone, Buell barks out the play. He'll send Hesford in motion right to left. and they'll give it off to Anderton. Anderton to the 5, and then the Indians will corral them and drop them back. So forward progress to the 5-yard line, a pickup of 2 on the play as they try to go off tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Do want to welcome Cheyenne East principal Sam Mirich. I understand he was back in school this week. He's been down a little bit, and I understand he's watching the game tonight. So, Sam, want to know we're thinking about you and glad that you're back at the office. 2nd down and 8 for the Indians. They'll fake the handoff to Anderton and dropped. Incomplete. So for the T-Birds, dropping that was Ox Schroeder. And a rare drop.
Schroeder catches that, he has an easy first down. There's a lot of room right in front of there as Buell on that RPO made a great read. Just couldn't get, as we said, with how cold it is, it's going to be tough to catch the ball, especially early.
3rd down, and we'll call it a long 7 as Anderton and Buell will be in the, well, actually Anderton now in the end zone. Buell's back at his 1-yard line. Buell fakes the handoff, back to pass, steps up, throws, got a man. Caught by Hesford. Hesford will have the first down to the 15-yard line.
Great patience right there by Buell, allowing Hesford to clear the middle of the field and really hit him in stride to get the run after the catch as well.
Each team no huddle offense as Schroeder will split to the near side. Miller along with Hesford out on top. Hesford more on the wing. T-Birds 1st down and 10 from their own 15-yard line. Buell, he'll pitch it out to Anderton. Anderton sweeps outside, and not much for Christian Anderton. The T-Birds can't get a lane paved for Christian, and he'll pick up maybe a yard, and that's what we'll give him to the 16. It's 2nd down and 9.
So nobody's really been able to get the run game going. It's only been 3 carries, but thus far both defenses have been able to answer the bell.
8-14 on the Pepsi scoreboard. Quarter number 1, no score in the annual Capital Bowl. This time they'll hand it to Anderton. Anderton breaks free, and he will have the first down as he busts up to the 25-yard line. Nice run by Christian Anderton. Again, the game's 2 premier runners, Carter Lobatos, Christian Anderton, on display tonight here at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex.
Anderton 3rd in the state in running, just trailing V.J. Pitter and Garrett Coons from Sheridan. You saw a little bit of that burst of speed Anderton had, too. He got to the 2nd level in a hurry.
For the T-Birds, they'll have a 1st down and 10. This drive started on their 3. They're right now on their own 25-yard line. On the handoff to Anderton this time, he's bunched up and dropped. Flag comes in as the T-Birds were trying to open a hole for Anderton. And right now Central is clapping, so it will be a holding call against Cheyenne East. And I'm glad I didn't say Central because the first indication was Central. I was like, no, I don't think so.
Well, it looked like the official that threw the flag went right to the lineman who was guilty and told him exactly what he had done wrong. So first time for East here being behind the chains. Let's see how they are able to combat that with a 1st and 20.
And this will be a spot foul. It's at the 16-yard line, so it'll be 1st down.
Or 2nd down,
They'll call it 2nd down. We're hoping it's 2nd down, and it is. Back to pass goes Buell. He'll step and throw it away as Hesford was just making his cut, and Buell was firing before Hesford had a chance to look back at Buell on the out pattern.
One thing if you had a chance to read the Tribune, and then they talked about Graydon Buell and this offense, just like Central, is all about timing. So if the timing's not there, Buell's throwing to a spot. He's not throwing to a man. So they need to get on the same page here early.
Miller out on top along with Hesford. To the near side is Ox Schroeder. Your tight end is Julian Veal, as he's lined up to the near side as well. Buell operating out of gun, 3rd down and long. Back to pass, straight drop back, now rolls to his right, steps up, throws, he's got Schroeder. Schroeder makes the grab at the 20, gets away from one tackle to the 30-yard line. He'll be shy of the first down. Nice extra yardage there by Ox Schroeder as he is dropped at the 33. It'll be 4th down and 2 for the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds, really, this is not a time to gamble early on in the contest.
No, it's not. And Schroeder did a great job there to make something out of nothing because he caught the ball about 10 yards short of the first down and was able to get a little bit of yak yards there, just wasn't able to get it to the 35.
Nice movement with the shoulder pads and the head as he got the extra yardage. And he will be back in deep punt formation. Johnson drops back for Cheyenne East. It is an end-over-ender. It will take a Cheyenne Central bounce, and then it will go down to the 42-yard line and out. So for Cheyenne Central, they're going to get great field position again.
Yeah, with that great punt from Central after their 3 and out, or after they had to couldn't convert,
passes,
right? Yeah, and did a great job pinning them deep. And unfortunately for East, they weren't able to flip the field over. So Central's going to need to take advantage here. As you said, another possession where they're going to have it really close to East territory.
Hash mark to the far side as it's first down and 10. Johnson along with Brady Storbo on top. To the near side is Talich, the tight end. On the near side is Brock Storbo. And they'll go to Labatos. Labatos has nowhere to go, and he'll be dropped for a loss.
Ran into the backfield. It looks like Bauer is able to get back there as well as Garcia blowing up the middle. And they dang near got the handoff before Labatos was even able to get it from McCleary.
Loss of 3, and it'll be second down and 13 for the Tribe. As Brock Storbo and Johnson now will split out on top. To the wing on the near side is Brady Storbo, and to the near side split out is Talich. On the option, McCleary calls his own number and get it back to the line of scrimmage, so he'll pick up 3. And McCleary was keeping his eye all the time on Labatos. Do I get it to him? Then he decided to turn it up, and he'll get back the lost yardage. So it's third down and 10, 5:40 on the Pepsi scoreboard.
Well, I don't know how many times they ran that last week, but that's the first time I've seen a real designed run by Dawson McCleary.
So for the Indians, third down 10, ball on their own 42-yard line. Hash mark to the far side. McCleary out of the gun. He's back to pass. Has time. Steps up. Got a man. That's Johnson who fumbles it. And it's fallen on. No. Brady Storbo had it and then lost it, and it'll be picked up by Jackson Hesford. Hesford will fall on it at the 37-yard line of Cheyenne East. Storbo, that's, Brady Storbo was closest to it after Johnson coughed it up, and for some reason he could not curl it inside. It slipped out, and Hesford was there to pick it up.
It was a foul or a penalty on the play. It was holding on Central, so even if Central recovered it, it wouldn't have mattered. It was going to go back. Now, one thing that would be interesting, if we had video replay, was did he really have possession of it? Because
yes,
great
he did.
Job
he had a
by
chance.
DB.
He had a chance to tuck it in. So I think if we did the video replay, he had it.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead and bring that back up. Right?
Yeah, I think he had it. We got a diamond stack to the near side by the Thunderbirds. Back to pass. They'll set up the screen, and they'll get it complete to the 44-yard line, and making the grab will be, it looked like Colton Hagan making that grab. So for Hagan, he will bring it to the 44-yard line of the T-Birds and a pickup of 7 on the play.
Yeah, we'll see Hagan quite a bit as he is the backup running back for Anderson. They want to split Anderson a little bit as well. As you can see now, he's split out to the left here.
So Hagan will be in the backfield, and now he will move to the left of one Graydon Buell, the junior quarterback, who barks out the signals. Trips to the far side, and he'll have it off to Hagan. 50-yard line, 45, 40, and Central Territory down to the 35-yard line. Nice run by Colton Hagan.
21 yards, largest play for anybody as far as running the ball goes. Nice run there by Hagan to bounce it outside.
5'10", 180-pound junior. Is it Hagan or Hagan?
I thought I heard him say Hagan, but we
so
can go with
Colton
Hagan.
That's what I called him earlier in the year, but I thought I heard somebody say Hagan. So Colton Hagan on the carry for the T-Birds as they're now on the Central 35-yard line with their first threat of the game. Buell, again, with an empty backfield, trips out on top. Back to passes where he likes Allmiller. He's hit as he throws it. It's almost picked off. in and out of the hands of Johnson. I think if Johnson would have got that one, that would have been a pick six.
For sure. Eli Castillo coming off the end on the blitz, hit Buell right as he had released it on the blind side.
So it will be 2nd down and 10. Pepsi scoreboard at the 4:05 mark. There's still no score. T-Birds in Central Territory at the 35-yard line. Boy, Johnson had, and I think that's probably what happened. He saw all that field in front of him. In motion is Anderton from the near side to the far side. They'll pitch it back to Hagen. Hagen will get a couple of yards to the 33, and that's about all he's going to get. Central defense up front. Again, anchored by one Tanner Bullock, who's had sensational last 3 weeks, and 2 of them that we've had. Has just been a terror on the defensive side.
4 sacks in that game we had against Laramie and a fumble.
3rd down, 8, ball on the 33-yard line for the T-Birds. Again, Hagen in the backfield. He will line up to the right of Buell. Buell will send Hesford in motion as he will now line up on the wing on the near side. Back to pass. Rolling to his right is Buell. He's forced to throw it early. Gets it to Hesford. Spins from a couple of tackles. Forward progress. Gets him close to the 1st down. If not, I think he has it.
Yeah, nice job there. Second effort by Hesford. And we saw this Central team before have an issue with tackling and wrapping up. And right there, Hesford broke 2 tackles to get the 1st down is what they'll call it.
And the ball right now resting just shy of the 25-yard line. 1st down and 10 for the T-Birds. So Buell out of the gun will have Hagen to his left. He'll give it to Hagen. He's bumped at the line of scrimmage and dropped right there. No gain on the play.
Kostelecki did a good job wrapping up this time and then holding on and allowing his teammates to get there in order for them to not allow Hagen out of it.
2nd down and 10. Pepsi scoreboard right now at the 2:40 mark. As Buell will look over to the East Brain Trust across the way as the play coming in a little slow. Again, both teams in that no-huddle offense. Hagen now will shift from the right to the left. Trips out on top. Back to pass goes Buell. He'll throw it up. Looking long for Ahmiller and almost one-handed it. Being guarded by Talich, incomplete.
I think if Ahmiller keeps running and not turning his body around, he would have had a better chance to make an over-the-shoulder play. But it's tough to really critique Ahmiller as he's the best receiver in the state, almost making an amazing OBJ-type catch.
Yeah, and he was all twisted up on that one. So it is 3rd down for the T-Birds and 10. As the Thunderbirds again at the 25-yard line, just shy of the 25. And Buell on the belly will give it off to Hagen. Hagen will bowl his way forward. 21-yard line, it will be 4th down and long.
Well, you know they're already, when you call that kind of play, it's because you know you're in 4-down territory. You just want a more manageable 4th down. If not, maybe you pop one off for a 1st down.
So Anderton will split out on top along with Hesford, Hagen, and Ahmiller. How about that? 4 out on top. And to the near side, it's Schroeder. So 4th down and 6 with about $1:45 to go here in the period. No score from the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. Larry Proietti, Chris Polton, Nick Proietti, as we are watching a battle thus far defensively and a timeout called by the T-Birds with 1:35 to go in the period. We'll be back after a 30-second timeout. You're listening to High School Football on 1480 KRAE. Birds want to talk about it, and again, if it's an Schroeder field goal right now, Chris, and the flags have kind of dropped a little bit. It's about 15 miles an hour. Schroeder will attempt one, And it will be out of the hold of Buell, and they're going to back it up to the 30, so it will be 40 yards, hash mark to the near side. Now, could a fake be in the offing? Don't know.
Well, and that's what they do. They toss out the block, and now it's just in their normal offense.
And Schroeder will split out on top. Michaeli to the near side in motion. Miller from the near side to the far side. They will fake the handoff, throw it inside. It's caught, and it should be close to the first down. Who made the grab? I think it was Michaeli. Michaeli makes the grab. Now it will be measurement time, or they're going to say it is enough for the first down. Michaeli caught it at the 15. I think that's where he needed to go.
They are going to call a timeout. It looked like for Buell, he threw it a little short, and Michaeli wasn't able to catch it and run. He had to come to the ground. If it's based on the mark,
it looks like it's
a little
first
short.
Down. You think it's a short? I think it's a first down.
Well, never mind. Now I see where the ball is. Where in the initial side judge was, he had it short of the 25. Now they have, or the 15. Now they have it on the 15.
They're going to stretch it out, and it is by the nose of the football. The nose of the football at the 15-yard line for the East Thunderbirds inside the red zone. And again, too, that's, that little fire back where if Buell hits him in stride, like you said, in the seam, that could be 6.
Yeah, well, definitely a lot less stressful of a first down call, that's for sure, too.
So for the T-Birds, an empty backfield with Buell sizing up the defense. Back to pass. Has time. Steps, throws, got a man. That is Anderton. Anderton breaks a tackle. He's in touchdown. Christian Anderton breaking the tackle. And the T-Birds will draw first blood.
Great scheme right there. You had Miller coming in on the slant, and they were in a man. So Anderton just beat his man outside, broke the tackle, and then trotted in from 15 yards out.
So for the East Thunderbirds, a drive that nets 6, as they will have the game's first score. Schroeder will attempt the PAT out of the hole to Buell. Snap is back, placement is down, kick through the uprights, and good. East 7, Central nothing. 72 seconds left to go here in quarter number 1. We're back after the 60-second timeout of 1480 KRAE. And it will end up in the hands of the Indians at the 35-yard line. One of the upbacks across the way picking it up. I do believe that might have been a Storbo. 47 for Cheyenne Central. So picking that up was that Charlie Nichols?
It is.
Charlie Nichols was one of the upbacks. He picks it up and will move it from the 30 to the 36. Indians again, third possession, great field position. As the Indians will have to the near side Talich, along with, looks like both Storbos, and McCleary. Hands it off to Labatos, and Labatos breaks free to the 41-yard line, and it will be a 5-yard pickup for the Indians, 2nd down and 5. And again, that's one of the things that sets up their pass is Cardinal Labatos.
It is, and that's a good first down play. Finally, first time since that first possession where they got a good plus gain on first down.
2nd down and 5. Brady Storbo along with Talich to the near side. Brock Storbo in the backfield in an offset eye. He'll be the up back. Again, McCleary out of the gun, back to pass. Steps up, throws. He's got Johnson. Johnson makes the grab, gets away from one tackler. First down to the 50-yard line, and Cheyenne Central will be at the midfield stripe.
First catch for Johnson. A nice move to get the first down, a little bit of extra, and get it onto the east side of the field.
They'll spot it at the 49-yard line as the man in the moon across the way, looking on like we are here at Okie Blatcher Sports Complex as we are winding down in quarter number 1 with about 10 seconds to go. McCleary again out of the gun, first down, east side of the football field, 49-yard line, hands it off to Lobatos. Lobatos tries to go off tackle. He does so down to the 46. That'll be a pickup of 3 as quarter number 1 expires. East 7, Central nothing. Capital Bowl. We're back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE.
All but one Class 4A game is underway over at Fightin' Bison Stadium. It's South and Laramie. They're tied up at 8 apiece in the first quarter. Rock Springs up over the number 1 team 7-0. That's over in Rock Springs. Natrona County and Kelly Walsh, they're tied up at 0s in the first. It'll be Campbell County and Sheridan. They'll kick off at 7 p.m.
All right, it's first down. Check the second down for the Indians and 7 with the ball right now on the 46-yard line of Cheyenne East. Johnson in motion. Now will reset on the near side. McCleary back to pass, straight drop back as time. Steps up, throws. He's got a man, and he could go all the way. That's Brock Storbo. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Indians.
It looked like Hesford went for the pick, and he wasn't able to get there, and Storbo had nothing but him in the end zone between. Just a little bit of 40-yard scamper right there for Storbo after the catch.
So 46 yards on the touchdown pass from Dawson McCleary to Brock Storbo, and the Indians are within a point of tying it up. Tegan Tippett will come out to attempt the PAT. Hit a nice field goal last weekend at Casper. Kelly Walsh from 40 yards out. It will be out of the hold of Andrew Johnson. Snap is back. Placement is down. Kick through the uprights, and we're tied. 7-7. Just underway in quarter number 2. 11:50 left on the Pepsi scoreboard. 7s across the board. East and Cheyenne Central. We're back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. May feel like winter outside, but the action is hot right now on the Okie Blanchard field as the Indians have tied the contest 7-7 as we're just underway in quarter number 2.
Took them just a minute 17 off the running clock to get back to square for Central.
Schroeder and Hesford back deep. Tippett puts a foot into it and it'll end up in the hands of Schroeder at the 3, to the 10. Comes to the near side to the 20, 25, and down as he is brought down at the 27-yard line. Making the stop for Cheyenne Central was John Vroman. So for the T-Birds, they will have the football on their own 27-yard line, and we are tied up here. Again, both teams 4-2. All you're going to do possibly with the win If Indians win, we'll flip-flop with the T-Birds. If the Indians happen to fall tonight, they still hold that tiebreaker over Rock Springs, who's battling with Thunder Basin tonight.
And who knows what happens there. As we said, that travel to Rock Springs is tough no matter who goes there in Class 4A.
Michaeli, along with, looks like Schroeder and Hesford, out on top. They'll hand it off to Anderton. Anderton tries the left side and maybe a couple yards to the 29-yard line.
You'll take 3 yards a pop if you're East. Really, any team will take 3 yards, especially on first down. With, as we've seen, both teams can't throw the ball and have abilities of that big play.
Give them a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8 for Cheyenne East. Now going right to left across your radio dial. Again, the Periscope via Twitter and on our YouTube site. Thanks so much for joining us. We do appreciate it. As Buell will have Anderton, he'll switch him over from his right to the left. Back to pass goes Buell. He'll step up, throw. He's got a man. It's caught. Nice little run after the catch and making the grab for Cheyenne East as the pile, it will be Schroeder as the pile unpiles. And it will be shy of the first down by a yard. 3rd down and 1 with the ball right now resting on the T-Bird 36-yard line. Buell will send trips to the near side. I have a feeling you might pound it here with Anderton. Could be wrong. And Buell will give it to Anderton. He breaks a tackle, and that'll be enough for the first down. I think he got it right up to the 37, Chris.
Bullock was back right there. Bullock and Kostelecki were both right there to make the play, and unfortunately, the second effort of Anderton is what really got that first down.
Got him to the 38-yard line, so it'll be 1st down and 10 for the T-Birds. Again, trips to the near side. You'll have Hesford along with Miller, along with Anderton, as they will check over on the east sideline, get the play. Buell operates out of the gun, empty backfield, and he's back to pass. He steps, he throws, he's got Anderton, breaks one tackle, and will fight his way to the 43. I think they'll give him forward progress to the 43. That'll be a pickup of 5.
Again, another missed tackle, Larry, on that first guy, allowing a couple more extra yards for East there.
And they'll give him the 44, so we will give him the 44 as well. They need to get to the 48, so it will be 2nd down, and we'll call it 4 for the T-Birds. Buell now with Anderton to his left, and we'll keep him there. Long count, and give it off to Anderton. Off tackle, drives forward, 1st down.
It looked like he was
48-yard line.
Caught right at the line of scrimmage. All of a sudden, you see like a cannon shootout for 4 more yards.
I like how both Anderton and Lobatos, when they're going off tackle, they lower the head, and they are so much harder to tackle. I mean, they're, like you said, they're like bullets coming right out of a gun. 1st down and 10, T-Birds on their own 48-yard line. Michaeli, Schroeder, Hesford out on top. Miller to the near side. Back to pass goes Buell. Pump fakes, firing long. He wants Miller. Can't get him. Overshoots him by a couple of yards as he had a step or two on Johnson along the sidelines.
Well, and Miller had 4 touchdowns last week against Natrona. And for Miller, that's a play him and Buell work very well with. Rare miss by Graydon Buell right there.
A couple weekends ago,
my
last
apologies.
week they had Laramie.
That's right.
As they blanked the Plainsmen, I think 33-0.
All the weeks are starting to run together.
No, actually, I tell you what, it's just fun to watch these teams, how their offenses have just gelled throughout the course of the year. 2nd down and 10 for the T-Birds. Buell will fake the handoff to Schroeder, give it off to Anderton. Anderton bulls his way to the midfield stripe and then driven back. I think they're going to give him the 49 of Central. Give him 3, and it will be 3rd down and 7 for Cheyenne East. As the T-Birds right now on a drive as they get into Indian territory. Score is tied 7-7. So for the T-Birds, Buell will have Anderton in the backfield. Miller, along with Hesford, they're in tight along with Schroeder. Back to pass, rolling to his left is Buell. Buell steps, throws. His pass partially blocked. Getting the hand on it, it was either Bullock or I do believe Labatos. One of the two got their hand on it.
Again, good job there by Central. East was 2 for 4 on third down, so East had some success on third, especially third and long, but right there, Central coming up with a big stop.
So Schroeder will drop back deep. He will check in around his 36-yard line, and for the Indians, awaiting the punt will be Johnson. Schroeder puts a foot into it, knuckleball, and it will take an East bounce downed at the 11-yard line. So for the T-Birds, getting down quickly to down it at the 11, looked like that was Jarrett Taylor, the 6'2 junior. So the Indians are backed up. First time this evening.
And now for the Indians, they have a chance to take their first lead after a great play made by the Storbos, I believe Brock Storbo for his 4th touchdown. Brock Storbo, 27 catches, 269 yards coming into this game. The Storbos in general causing havoc all season and no different here tonight.
First down for the Indians, and it will be Johnson lining up to the near side. Labatos in the backfield with McCleary. Matter of fact, Labatos will be to the left of Dawson. Dawson will send Johnson in motion, pitch it back to Johnson, looking for a block from Labatos. He gets the block, but nowhere to run, and another loss on the play. So a couple times now they've run this with Johnson for losses.
And it is a flag on the field. It's just a slow it's too slow, Larry. I think it gives East too much time as Johnson's not getting outside.
They pursue very well.
Yeah. There is a flag down on the play, so we'll see who this will be on.
Here comes the referee as he's across the way. It'll be a procedure call, and it's declined against Cheyenne Central. So for Johnson, no gain, and it will be second down at 10. Indians now on the hash mark to the far side.
Hate to say this, but we're in the second quarter. Very clean game to this point. I'll knock on wood when I say that, though.
Talich on top now. Now they'll change their mind, and now we'll mark it back? Or are they going to mark back the loss?
It looks like it's a loss. It's a loss of 2 as it's.
That's what I thought. Yeah, initially it was back to the 9-yard line. So it will be, actually they'll say a loss of 3 back to the 8. Second down, and we'll call it 13 for the Indians after the declining of the penalty as McCleary rolls to his right. Has time, steps, throws. It's picked off at the 10-yard line, driven down, and seeing that one as they tried to hook up with Brady Storbo. That was Jackson Hesford. So Hesford picks it off at the 10.
Well, this is the same exact play that scored the 46-yard touchdown. This time Hesford was earlier on the break and was able to cut in front of it. McCleary also threw that one a little bit more behind Storbo there. Wasn't a great ball and allowed Hesford to cut in front of it. Big turnover, second one.
As Hesford actually, as Storbo had his hands outstretched for it and almost just took it right out of the hands of Storbo.
Well, you can't ask any more for the offense as far as starting field position right at the 10-yard line.
First down and goal for the East Thunderbirds. Ball right at the 10. Anderton to the right of Buell. Buell now will check off, or we have
we have a false start.
False start on the T-Birds.
Second penalty on the T-Birds.
See, you had to pop off. There you go.
I did. With so many games with so many penalties, I felt like it was worth noting at this point.
Give me an email address so folks can send some emails too.
Right, exactly.
First down and goal on the 15-yard line. We'll do it again. Buell has Miller along with Hesford to the near side. Empty backfield, and Buell's back to pass. He's got plays out. He'll take it himself. Goes straight ahead. Breaks one tackle inside the 10 down to the 9. Nice move that time by Buell as he looked And obviously wanted to go with Miller. He was covered up, went to a secondary look of Hesford. He was covered up and decided to tuck it himself.
Yeah, that pocket started collapsing. That time, Miller, not only did he have one guy on him, he also had a second, as he had a little bit of safety help there, did the DB on that play for Central.
Second down and goal, ball on the 9-yard line. Anderton back in the backfield with Buell. Trips out on top. Miller to the near side. Long count by Buell. And to Anderton. Anderton straight ahead to the 6. And they will give him just inside the 7. So it'll be third down and goal. Still some real estate for the Thunderbirds to handle here to take it into pay dirt.
Larry, I think if you're going to see one-on-one with Miller and Johnson, don't be shocked if you see that fade route and Buell give Miller a chance to go up 1v1 against Johnson.
Johnson and Miller, they are lined up right across from each other on the near side. Anderton is to the right. Back to pass goes Buell. He's flushed out, fires one up, throws it up. Incomplete. Nice job by Johnson on Miller, and it will be fourth down.
You wanted some flag or at least signals from the east sideline, wanting a flag on the hold on the double move by Johnson. I don't think there was definitely enough there to really do anything. Plus, Buell didn't give a great ball, a catchable ball either.
No, as Buell overshot Miller, so it will be fourth down with the ball resting right now on the 6-yard line. They are not going for the field goal.
No, they know 7 points. You need to get the ball in the end zone if you want to win this game tonight.
Hesford will come to the near side along with Miller. I checked it. That's Michael to the near side. Miller is now on top. Buell out of the gun. Back to pass. He'll swing it out. Incomplete to Anderton. Anderton had cut up, and the pass went off to the outside. Incomplete. Central will take over on downs.
I think if he leads him, he doesn't throw it behind him, it gives Anderton a great shot to hit that pylon on the far right side, but Anderton had to do almost a full 360 and wasn't able to come up with a catch. I think even if he does, he's not getting in the end zone.
I don't think so either, but I'll tell you what, the Indians dodged a huge bullet as they will have the football deep in their territory. Again, right around the 7-yard line. It's in between the 6 and 7, so it'll be first down and 10 for Cheyenne Central. Brady Storbo will come to the near side. Johnson out on top. Brock Storbo in the backfield along with Lobatos. Lobatos right at the end zone. McCleary will give it off. Check this out. Lundberg in the backfield. He will bust up to the 20-yard line. Nice job by Nate Lundberg. I thought that was Brock Storbo at first.
Well, how about going with a little bit of misdirection? You see so many times they give the ball to Lobatos in that situation, but Lundberg with a huge gain and a first down.
Well, and again for Lundberg, as he will move it up to the 20-yard line for the War Tribe, he will stay in with an offset eye. And McCleary operating out of the gun. Back to pass. He wants it all. Looking long for Brady Storbo, and he makes it. He makes the catch. Still on his feet and driven out of bounds. There might be an offensive pass interference on Storbo as he pushed off on Miller.
You've never seen Miller really misplay a ball. We haven't seen it too much, him misplay a ball. And if it's offensive pass interference, which you see everybody going back, that's what it looks like it may be as both Storbo and Miller come together as they walk back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, unfortunately, it was a great catch by Brady Storbo. But for the Indians, it will be wiped out due to the hanky. You know, on the run previous by Lundberg, again, he's a 5'8", 170 junior. What a young team that Mike Apodaca has. Again, Dawson McCleary is your senior quarterback. A lot of weapons in the offing for Coach Mike Apodaca.
And we got a chance 2 weeks, when we had Central and Laramie to see their freshman quarterback, who's, I believe he's 6'6".
Feaser, yeah.
Or 6'4" is what he's listed at. So he may have, an up-and-comer next year to take over for McCleary.
First down and 20 with the ball marched back to the 10-yard line as McCleary again will have that offset eye off to his right. He'll pitch it back to Lobatos. Lobatos changes direction, gets it over the 10 and to the 13. So pick up a 3 to make it now 2nd down and 17. Indians needing to get to the 30-yard line.
For the East High Thunderbirds, they're doing a good job bottling Lobatos. That's just now 4 carries for 7 yards for Carter Lobatos here in this first half.
We're coming up on the 5-minute mark of the Pepsi scoreboard. Central going left to right across your dial. Again, Periscope via Twitter and YouTube. McCleary rolling to his left. He steps up, throws, and looked like Johnson had slipped on the turf around the 27-yard line, got himself gathered up, and the McCleary pass just off his fingertips, incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down and 17 for Cheyenne Central.
Again, another one of those timing routes where you don't know if Johnson just didn't get his head around in time, and McCleary, that had some sauce on it too. That thing was humming.
But also too, Johnson did lose his footing. So for the Indians, they got a lot of real estate to cover. Ball on their own 13-yard line, needing to get up to the 30-yard line. McCleary, and on the hard count, will get 5 freebies. So it will move the football to the 18, and it'll be 3rd down and 12.
Good job there by McCleary on the hard count. Just trying to find anything you can do to give yourself a little bit more manageable 3rd down.
Cheyenne Central with a long 3rd down call. Again, Johnson will be split out on top. Brady Storbo to the near side. Brock in at the tight end position. McCleary looking over to the side, and the Indians want to talk it over. 4:54 to go here in period number 2. 7-7 our score, back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Check the scoreboard.
Rock Springs up now 14-2 in the second quarter over the number 1 team in Class 4A, Thunder Basin. Over down south from us, South High tied up at 15-15 with Laramie. That's in the second quarter. Natrona off to a hot start over Kelly Walsh, 14-0. Campbell County and Sheridan will get underway. Kickoff right around 7 p.m. tonight.
Talents Johnson to the near side as McCleary will now send Johnson in motion. Right to left. Back to pass goes McCleary. Under a heavy rush and down he goes. He will be sacked at the 8-yard line. That was one where he couldn't get the football off to throw it away. And, I mean, that was a good defensive end, both sides, pressuring and sacking him.
Yeah, that was, I would call that almost a coverage sack, too, because it looked like McCleary had a couple of different reads. Nobody was there, and then the pocket just collapsed on top of him.
So for Cheyenne East, Hesford will drop back deep. He will be joined by Miller. They should come away with good field position. Johnson back in his end zone, gets the snap back. And will boot it away, and it will end up in the hands of Miller at the 48. He spun around by Brady Storbo and dropped at the 47-yard line of Cheyenne Central. So let's see if they will drop him right there at the 47.
Kind of a ring around the rosy type play right there as Storbo went around a couple of times as Miller didn't want to go down and Storbo wouldn't let go.
And that's a nice job by Brady Storbo doing it all on his own. So for the Indians, defensively, they at least got themselves out of the hole. That could have been disastrous. Johnson really took his time on that ever-lovely kick.
Well, that time it was actually worked out well because nobody was rushing him. So it almost looked like he was thinking about taking off at some point. But he was able to get his gunners down the field.
So for the T-Birds, 1st down and 10, ball on their own 47-yard line. Buell Hands it off to Anderson. Anderson, midfield in Central Territory, down to the 47-yard line, and a pickup of 5 on the play.
Good first down run there by Anderson. Hard run, too. He finished it by lowering his shoulder and really putting a hurting on the defensive back that came in to get him.
Yeah, again, Johnson with the rugby-style punt. Again,
your favorite thing?
You know, it used to be just a good old-fashioned Ray Guy punt, but these days now everybody's got to do that rugby style. Second down, we'll call it a long 4 for Cheyenne East. Anderson first down as he, again, goes straight up the gut to the 42.
That would have been a big gain, too, if Labados not able to hang on to Anderson right there.
So for Cheyenne Central, they need to, get the defense on track here if you're going to see a diet of Anderson. And when you see Anderson getting 4 or 5 yard chunks, that sets up their pass game, and that's what makes them a very dangerous team. Schroeder along with Miller and Hesford to the near side. 3:05 on the Pepsi scoreboard. Play taking a long time coming in from the side.
Johnson on the side or on the other side of Miller here. Miller with sophomore Ethan Wilkins on him.
Anderson was in motion. Long pass, and that's going to go out of bounds as it looked like Schroeder just basically broke off the pattern and looked like for Buell, he just threw it away.
Buell on the season has completed 69% of his passes. He's just 8 of 14 to start here in the first half.
Second down with the ball resting on the Indians' 42-yard line. Clock stopped at 2:53. Miller again to the near side. He will draw Talich in coverage. Anderson back into the backfield. He will be to the right of Buell. Buell this time to Anderson, off tackle, and Anderson down to the 38-yard line. So a pickup of 5, and it will be third down and 5. Quickly, the T-Birds will come up to the line of scrimmage now. We'll look over to the side with the play coming in. If I'm not mistaken, I think the T-Birds, along with the Indians, both have a couple of timeouts left.
Both have 2, you're right.
Third down and 5. Buell barks out the signals, ball on the Indians' 38-yard line. And this time they'll go to Anderson. He's wrapped up immediately and dropped. Nice job that time by the interior of Cheyenne Central, Tanner Bullock. One of those hands that grabbed him. Also, it looked like, if I'm not mistaken, Vroman.
Yeah, good job there. But it didn't allow Anderson to break that first tackle as he's been able to do at some points here tonight.
So for the T-Birds, they are going to elect to punt it away. Now, again, Schroeder, as Johnson can do, can tuck it away and run with it. About $1:45 left to go here in the second quarter. And Schroeder will kick an end-over-ender. Calling for the fair catch and making the grab is Johnson. And he will grab it at the 14-yard line. So with the Indians as well as the T-Birds, both have quick strike offenses. Unfortunately, we've only seen one thus far. I do believe, is there a penalty on the no flag? Okay. Well, I saw the T-Bird sideline all say decline it, and it's like, well, what's going on?
Maybe no big plays. That's what they're saying. No big plays. It's been one big play for Central that has given them their 7 points. Other than that, East's defense has been pretty stout.
Well, and again, this is one where I asked Chad Goff, is your secondary going to be tested? And he said, we'll see. Well, so far they're 1-1, Hesford with the INT, and then on another time they got beat. Brady Storbo is to the near side. They'll keep it on the ground to Labados. Labados breaks one tackle, spin away from another, and down to the 20-yard line.
Good 5-yard pop right there for Labados to start the drive.
I think the Indians might be just content to head into the locker room tied at 7.
Which is interesting because East will start with the football in the second half.
So for Cheyenne Central, gain of 6 by Labados. Offset Lundberg now in the backfield, and back to pass goes McCleary. He steps, he throws, he's got a man. It's caught at the 30-yard line by Johnson, across the way, and the Indians will have a first down on the 31-yard line.
That is just the second catch for Anderson here tonight, or for Johnson here tonight.
Cheyenne Central on the hash mark to the far side. They get the chain set. Clock is winding down. Coach Apodaca being patient on his timeouts. Johnson will now line up, and now a quick timeout. Boy, and again, for Cheyenne Central, they lost 10 seconds of indecision. Finally call a timeout. 45 seconds to go here in the period. 7-7 our score. We're back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. It's homecoming here tonight, so we'll have a lengthy halftime show for you. That will give Chris plenty of time to add up the numbers, and we'll also keep you updated on the scoreboard as well. For the East Thunderbirds, defensively, they're on the field looking at the Central offense. With the Indians right now, first down and 10 at their 31-yard line. They have one timeout left with 45 seconds to go. McCleary operating out of the gun. He's back to pass. Looking long. Fires it up. And this one will be for Johnson. And then, again, battling. People pushing off. It's Miller, Hesford, along with Johnson. I think Johnson might be ticketed for the flag.
We'll see. Johnson was claiming he was pushed off on. So we'll see.
It's going to be against the T-Birds. So for Cheyenne Central, that's a freebie 15.
And that's a big penalty, too, because that's going to put them right at the 46-yard line.
So for Cheyenne Central, and nice pass by McCleary. Again, you're looking at the flags. They were stiff when we came out here. They've kind of dropped off a little bit. So it's a colder night, but McCleary at least is getting some loft on the football and allowing his receivers to get underneath it.
And one change, just at least in that play, they moved Miller from the corner spot to the safety. And you could see the coaches on the sidelines yelling at Miller to shade more towards Johnson, knowing that the fly was going to be coming, or the streak route would be coming, and sure enough, there it was.
Brady Storbo along with Johnson to the near side, and McCleary rolling to his right. He steps up, gets away from the pressure. Midfield down to the east 48-yard line with 31 seconds to go.
McCleary taking off.
And the T-Birds, and the Indians will come up to the line of scrimmage as they will lose precious seconds. They have one timeout left. McCleary back to pass. He steps, he throws, he's got a man. It's caught, and out of bounds goes Brock Storbo at the 42-yard line of Cheyenne East. That will be a first down. 10 seconds left to go here in the first half.
Yeah, good job there by Storbo to stop the clock, get out of play, and give you got one more play to get a big chunk, call a timeout, and a chance for Tippett to kick a field goal.
Going to need about, I would say probably about 20 yards on a night like tonight, because that ball is cold, and it'll be like kicking a rock. McCleary rolls to his left, steps, throws, got a man a little low as he was trying to hook up with Talich. Talich was open around the 28-yard line, 4 seconds left.
That's such a tough pass for a quarterback. You're rolling to your left, and really that out route is a tough ball, even if you're not rolling to your left. And unfortunately, McCleary couldn't get enough on it, as we'll see the final timeout.
Well, and here's the deal, too, and we'll keep it here. With the Indians, as you look at this play, unlike the pros where you can possibly throw it up and may get a penalty, it will be at the spot. Unfortunately here, the best they could probably get before the end of the period is a 15-yarder. That would move them up to the 27-yard line. So we'll see what kind of dice Coach Apodaca is going to throw out against the T-Birds. We also thought this would be a high shooting, high shootout affair. It's 7-7 as we're going to go to the intermission.
Safe to say the defenses won the first half, of course, with one more play coming, but the defenses have come out, and I think the cold had a little bit to do with it, too. We've seen a couple of drop passes, one by Schroeder we definitely don't usually see all that often, and with McCleary trying to throw into the wind, that deep ball hasn't had that same kind of drive into it that we've seen him in weeks past.
So one possible final play for the first half, as it will be an empty backfield. Labados, Johnson, Brady Storbo to the near side. Out on top is Talich. Back to pass goes McCleary. McCleary under a heavy rush, and down he goes, and that's how we're going to wrap up the first half as the T-Birds converged on McCleary and dropped him for the loss. Looked like Montoya was on that one, and I'm trying to catch it. I think it might have been, was it Bradley Whitwright? I can't get the number there. Or Dakota Heckman making that stop. So for the T-Birds and the Indians, they will head to their respective locker rooms. We are knotted up at 7 apiece. The Capital Bowl on homecoming for Cheyenne East. We're tied 7-7. We're back after a 2-minute timeout on 1480 KRAE. A chance to always hear all these great sponsors of our high school broadcast. Again, we want to take this opportunity to say thank you to Kuzma Success Realty, Aero Moving and Storage, B&B Appliance and TV, Baskin Robbins, Billy Adelman with the LCCC Flight Crew, the Bread Basket Bakery, Burns Insurance Company, Capital Lumber Company, Charles Schwab, Shine Auto Repair and Service, Chick-fil-A, Fat Boys Tire and Auto, First Education Federal Credit Union, Foot of the Rockies, Halliday Motors, High West Energy, Joette Produce, Kia of Cheyenne, Laramie County Community College, Cheyenne Regional Medical Center, the Injury Prevention Program, and First Year Bank. At the intermission, we are knotted up at 7 apiece, East and Central, homecoming for the East High Thunderbirds. Also, we want to say thank you to MHP LLP, Lennox Auto Body, Little Philly, Mary's Mountain Cookies, Medicap Pharmacy, Meridian Trust, Federal Credit Union, Merritt Plumbing and Heating, Page and Zach Lane at Number One Properties, Pepsi of Cheyenne with our Pepsi scoreboard, Pete's Builders, Platte Valley Bank, Taco John's, the Gill Window Company, and the Wyoming Department of Transportation. On a night that, again, as we were talking into the break a little bit, Chris, and Nick as well, we knew it was going to be cold tonight. But the good thing, we haven't seen a lot of mistakes. We've seen the one INT where Central at least staved off what could have been disastrous on the interception, but no fumble. The one fumble by Johnson. So Central has coughed it up a couple of times. Other than that, it's been a pretty well-played game, and again, tip of the cap to the defenses.
Yeah, the defenses definitely won the first half. For East, they were able to get points off one turnover at least, even though they got the interception right at the 10-yard line. But Central standing strong, and I think we keep saying it each week, this defense for Central just keeps getting nastier and nastier, especially in the front four with Bullock, Kostelecki, Lundberg. All those guys have just done a fantastic job in the front four, and they're doing a great job for the most part bottling up Anderton.
And also, too, Cardinal Lobato hasn't had a chance to get the Jets off and running as well. But that is putting more pressure on both Buell and Dawson McCleary, as the run games have been, for the most part, shut down. And, again, these teams live off that run to open up the pass game. And, yes, there have been completions by both quarterbacks, but really, other than the touchdown that went to Storbo and, of course, Anderton, there really hasn't been much to cheer about.
No, and one thing we haven't seen a lot, Larry, is the extension of the run game, is the bubble screens or anything like that. It almost looks like both teams defensively prepared so well, and it just hasn't been there, so it hasn't been called yet. Because we're used to seeing Johnson come in on that bubble screen with the Storbos out there, or giving it to a Storbo out extended on that left side. We haven't seen that yet either.
Well, and then also you look at the situation, too, with the East Thunderbirds, where they're not doing a lot of belly.
Nope.
Or the run-pass option. You look at Cheyenne Central again, too, where what they're doing with McCleary is they're trying to get him outside now, and it seems like when he steps outside the pocket, that's where he's having the most difficulty. When he's in the pocket and has a chance to size up his receivers downfield, he's a little better off. But again, I think the pressure from the ends on both sides right now are causing more problems for Cheyenne Central throwing the football.
Well, and also too, the top two receivers have a combined 2 catches for, I think it's 21 yards, and those 2 catches are both with Andrew Johnson. Amiller held without a catch in that first half, had 3 targets, but held without a catch. So that shows me, too, both teams are doing a great job in the secondary, not allowing these skilled players to get loose.
And for Cheyenne Central, wherever Amiller has been going, he's either drawn Johnson or Nathaniel Talich. So Central knows exactly where number 4 is on the field at all times. At the intermission, it's Cheyenne Central and Cheyenne East tied 7-7. We'll be back after this 2-minute timeout on 1480 KRAE.
College. It's filled with classrooms, instructors, and exams. But beyond that, it's filled with curiosity, budding friendships, insightful conversations, and so many opportunities. There will be people like you, and you, and you. You'll work, you'll play, you'll struggle, and you'll succeed. But when you allow yourself to pursue your dreams, you'll learn what you're truly made of.
Just about ready to hear the award-winning East High Thunderbird Marching Band. I guess they're doing a tribute to Sir Elton John tonight during homecoming festivities here at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. We do want to remind you we will be back here next Friday evening as Cheyenne East will entertain the Rock Springs Tigers. We will get you a score update as we got an eyebrow raiser going on in the Tigers' den in Rock Springs at present. So, again, we will be on there. I do believe it's a 7 o'clock kickoff next week. We'll keep you posted. It was tentatively scheduled for 7, but, again, Rock Springs traveling a lengthy distance, so don't be surprised if we are kicking off next week at 6 o'clock. Here, East Central 7-7 as we have moved to the intermission. You know, going back into the first half, Central, with their first 3 drives, had great field position and couldn't do anything with it.
No, they just stalled out. They were able to get a first down, but then all of a sudden, a couple of incompletions, and they weren't able to catch back up from it. And both defenses have, especially once it becomes time where their backs are against the wall, have really been able to stand up against each other's offenses. Of course, for Central, they haven't even been in the red zone yet on offense.
You know, it's interesting, too. You give Chad Goff a chance to go into the locker room where they're at right now. And again, you know, in his tenure as head coach, they come out a different operation in the second half. So, you know, they're going to go through exactly on that offensive side on things that went wrong. I guarantee you're going to start seeing an off-tackle dose of Anderton when they come back out. It's got to set up the passing game. But to the credit of Mike Apodaca in the other locker room, where he's in there right now saying, hey, secondary, and again, that linebacking core spearheaded by Carter Labatos, they don't want to give anything underneath.
Right.
And definitely, you know, a lot of pressure going to be on that secondary to make sure that Ahmiller, and again, wherever Ahmiller's going, he's drawing the best that Cheyenne Central has to offer in that secondary right now.
They are. And as far as East, when it comes to their offensive adjustments, I'd love to see some type of delay with Anderton, too, because their front four for Central is coming up the field so quick. You've got to use that against them and try to see if you can't get a delay, maybe a middle screen type deal where either Ahmiller comes across, because you'd love to see Ahmiller get a touch early, especially on this first drive, just to get him in the game. Right now, you know, he's been held catchless thus far. And then as far as Central goes, if you're not going to give Carlo Labatos the ball, you have to give somebody the ball. Only 5 rushes for Labatos. That's not nearly enough for this offense that has been relying on balance.
And again, too, when they went with the offset eye, Lundberg, came through for the Cheyenne Central Indians on a huge run. So, with that all being said, that's where we're at intermission. We've kind of scouted it out for ourselves. We know what to expect from these two teams. And again, both high-powered offenses, but to the credit of both of these teams, and again, it's East Central. I say no more after that, but to the credit of both defenses tonight, they've come to play football on a wintry night or a very chilly fall night, and it is cold out there right now. But again, the mistakes have been limited. Penalties and, again, turnovers against Central with the 2 turnovers in this contest. So I am looking forward to the second half, and we'll see when East comes out and takes the football for their first offensive possession in quarter number 3. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout. We'll come back. Chris is going to get you caught up on scores, and then we'll take another timeout. We'll come back, and we'll give you the first half numbers. Again, it's a lengthy halftime, so we'll be back to the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex in 2 minutes right here on 1480 KRAE.
Back to Okie Blanchard Stadium here. We are tied up at 7 at halftime. It's homecoming night, so the longer halftime is upon us. We'll take a look at our scoreboard as you can, if you're watching on YouTube, which we thank all of those watching on YouTube and Periscope via Twitter tonight. Over at Fightin' Bison Stadium, Laramie has the 28-21 lead over the Fightin' Bison. A little bit of a different game than what we have here. It's at the half at Rock Springs in the Tiger Den. 14-2, the Rock Springs Tigers over the number one team thus far, Thunder Basin Bolts. Of course, we've seen Thunder Basin get down before and have big second half, so don't be shocked if you see the same thing there. It's an inner city rivalry in Casper, as Natrona County is up 17-0 over Casper Kelly Walsh. And thus far in Gillette, there's no score between Sheridan and Campbell County. The other game we're keeping an eye on is an interclass matchup with Pine Bluff and Burns. There is no score thus far, at least it hasn't been reported. That game is probably, I would say, towards the tail end of that first quarter. We'll have stats for you when we come back. Another 2-minute timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. Back to the campus of Cheyenne East for a battle between East and Central that has had more implications this year than probably their last, I would say, 10 matchups almost, as it's been quite a long time that there's been this much on the line, probably home field on the line here tonight for the first round of the Class 4A playoffs. Let's take a look at our stats from the first half. First for Central, Dawson McCleary was 6 of 11 in that first half for 96 yards. He did connect with Brock Storbo on a 46-yard touchdown. He also threw a pick to Jackson Hesford. Fortunate for him, no points came out of that. Carter Lobatos just 5 carries for 13 yards. Johnson has 2 carries for -2 yards. McCleary with 2 carries, 8 yards. Lumberg with 1 carry, 10 yards. For receivers, 2 catches for Johnson in that first half, 2 for 21. Storbo had 2 catches. It was Brock Storbo with 2 catches for 52 yards. He had the 46-yard touchdown. Brady Storbo, 2 catches for 22 yards. Talich held off the stat line with no catches in that first half. For East, Graydon Buell, 8 of 14 for 81 yards. He had a 15-yard connection with Anderton. That was for his one and only touchdown. For Christian Anderton on the ground, 12 carries for 41 yards. He's also chipped in with 2 catches for 21 yards. That, of course, with that 15-yard touchdown. Colton Haugen with a couple of carries, 4 of them to be precise, for 27 yards. He had a big 14-yard run, or 21-yard run in the first half, and then Buell with a carry of 6 yards as well. No catches for Chance Allmiller in that first half. They were led by Ox Schroeder with 2 catches, 29 yards. Hesford had 2 catches for 18. Anderton again 2 for 21. Michaeli 1 catch for 6 yards. And it's Haugen with 1 catch for 7 yards. In that first half, it was 7 first downs for Central, 8 first downs for Cheyenne East. So for Central, they were 0 for 3 on third down. East was 2 of 6. 4 penalties for the Thunderbirds for 35 yards. For Central, 1 penalty for 10 yards. As that is the first half stats. We'll take a 1-minute timeout here and get you set up for what should be an exciting second half right here on 1480 KRAE.
I had a chance to walk on out there while you were getting everybody caught up on scores and stats, and it's got a bite, but it's not excessively cold.
Well, it looks like the wind's died down a little bit too, which is always nice when you don't have that Cheyenne wind with that cold front that's coming in here.
So, and again, too, you look down the schedule or the National Weather Service, we get by tonight, and it shapes up to be pretty doggone good for about the next week, and we'll be back here next weekend, and maybe we'll be back in shorts. Who knows?
Well, I know that you've aimed to do that every year. So.
I try to make all season long. What about Wyoming? You can't hand signal me over there, Mr. Camera Guy. Wyoming's at San Diego State tomorrow. That'll be a late night kickoff in San Diego, California. Last line I saw, Cowboys were 3.5-point underdogs. So we'll see how the Pokes do in this one. Now, Nick and myself, we did our picks yesterday. You had East, and I took Central in this one. So nothing's been settled thus far as we got 24 minutes, hopefully, to get this thing settled.
7 points scored in the first quarter by East, 7 points scored in the second quarter by Central. So as even as it can possibly be in that first half.
Tippett has it teed up. Back deep is Hesford along with Schroeder, and he'll put a big foot into it. And in and out of the hands of Schroeder as it'll go into the end zone. And it'll be first down and 10 for Cheyenne East at their own 20-yard line.
Schroeder really wanted to return that. He made sure his feet weren't in the end zone or anything, but unfortunately let that get right into his body, and it was kicked with so much velocity it went right through his hands.
You know, and talking with Coach Apodaca, too, really likes the improvement in one Tegan Tippett's, how he's really getting the confidence now as their place kicker.
Well, and you had mentioned before we even went on air his ability to kick field goals at Casper Kelly Walsh last weekend.
Well, those were wind-aided, though. Let's be real. The wind did help out. I mean, he was hitting one from 60 yards out, but that 40-yarder that he had with the wind behind him had a lot to spare. Christian Anderton will be to the left of Graydon Buell as Buell will operate out of the gun. First down to 10 East, going right to left across your dial, both visually and on the audio side. Hand off to Anderton, and exactly what Chris said they need to do is get him up and running and opening up some holes for the passing game. Anderton off tackle on the right side for a gain of 4, and it's second down and 6. Buell will have trips to the near side. And back to pass. He steps up. He's looking for Allmiller. He's got Allmiller and dropped it. Allmiller wide open and drops it.
I think Vroman may have gotten in the way just a little bit to kind of distract Allmiller, but that's a very, very rare drop from Chance Allmiller.
Third down for Cheyenne East and 6. Ball on the 24-yard line. Buell taking a glance over the sideline. Again, both teams no huddle offense. Now we'll shift Anderson from the left to the right. Buell fakes the handoff to Anderson. Back to pass, looking over the middle. He's got a man. Incomplete. Just led Schroeder by about a yard. Schroeder actually got his fingertips on it but could not haul it in.
And, we got the East coordinators right next to us. You can hear two hands. He kind of reached out for the one. It's kind of one of those things where if you can get one hand on it, you should be able to get both. And unfortunately, they're just inches. This game's going to come down to inches. That's maybe one we look back to later on.
Schroeder will kick into the breeze as the flags are starting to pick up now on the goalpost. He will kick into this little west-northwest wind. Johnson stands back around the 50, and he misses it as he shanks it, and it will be down at the 39-yard line of East. While Schroeder did not even get any loft on that thing, and it almost like it went off the side of his foot.
Well, I'll tell you, not like a very good first drive for East, not something we really have seen a lot of drop, and then a bad punt. It almost looked like the way it came off, it was blocked, but there was nobody around him.
No. So for the Indians, they've got great field position to open up their first drive here in the second half. They will send Brady Storbo to the near side, Hashmark to the near side. McCleary will have Lundberg, as I mentioned. I thought we would probably see a little more Nate Lundberg along with Lobatos in the backfield. First down and 10. They'll give it to Lundberg. Lundberg is bottled up, and he will drive to the 40-yard line, and that's it.
Yeah, good job there for the first man through. It looks like 68. Zach Higgins was the man who did a great job wrapping up and not letting go.
Brady Storbo was running a route on the far side and actually slipped on the turf and called himself safe on the turf. A pure baseball player. There you go. Second down and 11 for Cheyenne Central. Ball on the 40-yard line. Back to pass goes McCleary. He steps, he throws. He's got a man. Is it picked off? They're wrestling for it. Hold everything. Crossed away. We haven't got a signal yet.
They're going to say Central made the catch.
Central got the catch. Wrestling for it is Johnson. And he was wrestling with, was it Schroeder? And they're going to give it to Central at the 35. Boy, that's why I did not say anything, because the official came running in with the catch signal for Cheyenne Central. Johnson was battling across the way with Schroeder and out-muscled him.
Well, I wonder, too, Johnson did not do a very good job shielding off Schroeder on that pass.
Third down and 6 for the Worth Tribe as they are now marching to the 35-yard line of Cheyenne East. McCleary out of the gun, back to pass, steps, throws. Got a man! Caught across the way.
I think that's Carter Lobatos that was lined out wide.
And that is Lobatos indeed at the 25-yard line, so it'll be first down and 10 for Cheyenne Central. Fresh set of downs.
A couple of first downs right off the bat for Central. This is a good drive for their first one here in the second half.
For McCleary, he will have Lundberg and Lobatos offset eye, and they will go to Carter Lobatos. He gets a block from Lundberg, cuts it back inside the 20 and down to the 18-yard line. Or they'll say the 19. Give him 6 on the run.
Good hard run right there by Lobatos. Again, another guy we said they need to give him the ball. He just didn't have enough touches, back-to-back touches right there for 22 yards for Carter Lobatos.
Second down and 4 with the ball inside the red zone at the 19-yard line. Hashmark to the far side. Now they'll back up, check off the play, and reset the offense. Lundberg will move from the right to the left. Offset eye. They'll pitch it out to Lobatos. He gets a block from Lundberg. Straight ahead. 14, maybe. Well, we know he's got the first down. I'm going to say they're going to give him the 14.
Yeah, another nice run there for Lobatos. Finishing the run is something he didn't do in the first half. here, back-to-back carries. Now that's 3 plays in a row where they've given it to number 20, and you see how pivotal he is to this offense.
9-minute mark as they will reset the chains at the 14-yard line of Cheyenne East. McCleary, again, will have the offset eye as he operates out of the gun. He's back to pass. He steps. He throws. He's got a man. Incomplete.
We got a late flag. It's not in the area of pass interference. It's back where the line of scrimmage is. And the way the official is pointing, it looks like it may be against Central.
As Brady Storbo could not come down with the pass. Does it look like a hold? Is that the indication? Holding against Cheyenne Central. So for the Indians, and East is not even going to hesitate, they're going to march him back to the 24.
Well, especially with that wind in the face of Central. With Tippett's a good leg. We at least see he's been able to get better each week. You want to make at least a field goal opportunity as tough as possible.
Yeah, right now, if they would stall, it would be 41 yards, and it would be the hash mark on the far side.
And into the wind.
No, actually, the wind's behind him now, if you look at the flags up here.
Well, you got this one blowing. Looks like
is it swirling?
Maybe it's swirling.
We might be at Candlestick Park right. Instead of at Okie Blanchard. Who knows? Holy Toledo. It is now 1st down and 20 for the Tribe. They need to get to the 4-yard line of Cheyenne East. Brock Storbo along with Lobatos, they're talking. Now Storbo will move from right to left. Offset eye behind McCleary. Long count. Fakes the handoff, now rolls to his right. Steps up, throws, got a man! That's Brock Storbo inside the 10, down to the 5.
19 yards. That's a great first down play, and it gives them 2nd and short.
So obviously Lobato said, pass is coming to you, catch it.
Yes, don't miss it, please.
2nd down, and we're going to call it about 1.5 yards for the Indians. Knock it on the door. McCleary with the offset eye. Operates out of the gun, and then they'll back it off. Indians want to change up the play. Now McCleary gets it all set. Back to pass. Steps. Throws. Touchdown, Brady Storbo. So a little out pattern by Brady Storbo, and the Indians are on top 13-7. Wow.
That's a good first drive. You get the bad punch by Schroeder after the 3-and-out made by Central, and they come and respond quickly, and it's the Storbos finishing off the drive.
Tippett's on to attempt the PAT. Johnson will be your holder. Snap back, placement down, kick is good. Central 14, East 7, back to the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Enough football with Cheyenne East, especially under the Chad Goff regime. And Nick, you could probably nod your head on this too. This is not panic time for the Thunderbirds. They, and that's exactly what Chad Goff is trying to tell his team. Hey, don't worry, we can get this one back. And they've done that. They've come from behind a couple, 3 times this season as well.
They had to do it at Casper or Natrona County just 2 weeks ago.
And not once, not twice, but 3 times they had to come back. Tippett's to boot it away. This one will be low, and it will end up in the Schroeder bobbles it. And they're going to be bottled back around the 5-yard line. Oh, my. And that isn't Schroeder. I'll take it back. That's Anderton who was back there. Anderton could not pick up the handle of the football, and he's dumped at the 5.
Yeah, that's a tough one to handle. You just got to field it like a shortstop. Get right behind it, make sure you make the catch first. It looked like Anderton started running before he was able to scoop the ball up.
Well, they're going to give him just outside of the 5, so it'll be first down and 10. But again, the Indians with the 14-7 lead for Cheyenne East, they're a non-panic outfit. So let's see. They've got 95 yards to navigate right now. Buell out of the gun. Anderton to his left. Christian with the football, trying to sweep outside, then cuts it back up. He'll pick up a very short gain, then driven back, maybe 2 to the 7.
With how quick
or the 8.
With how quick this front 7 is for Central, you have to make one cut and go. It looked like Anderton delayed just a minute, and that allowed the front 7 to gang tackle him right at the line of scrimmage.
So the ball will be spotted at the 8. We'll give them 3 on the play. It's second down and 7. They'll do the little fly sweep as they'll give it off this time to Schroeder. Schroeder makes the 10 and then is picked up and driven back. Schroeder to the 12, possibly.
Good job by Central not to put him down to the ground, because that could have been very easily an unnecessary roughness play when you pick up a player and slam him down. Good job there by Central just to pick him up and hold him there until the whistle.
Third down, long 3 for Cheyenne East. Buell has Anderton to his right. Fakes the handoff to Anderton. Buell rolls to his right. Steps, throws, almost picked off. Across the way, reading the eyes, was Nathaniel Talich and almost came away with it.
Instead, it's a first down for East.
And who picked? Was it Michaeli who picked it up? Cole Michaeli got the grab. I thought Talich actually knocked it away, but he knocked it right into the hands of Michaeli. First down for the T-Birds. Ball on the 19-yard line. Buell back to pass. He's looking long. He's got Schroeder makes the grab to the forward, actually to the midfield stripe.
What a catch by Schroeder, diving over the shoulder and gets 2 hands that time on it.
Right across from us are the T-Birds at the midfield stripe. First down and 10. Oh, I'll tell you what, you go back to that Talich almost, and that could have been big news for Cheyenne Central. Cole Michaeli, though, give him all the credit to come down with that catch. For the T-Birds, it's Anderton driving down to the 46-yard line. He'll pick up 4 as he goes off tackle. And the T-Birds in business right now. Again, this drive started around their 5. Second down and 6. Again to Anderton. Anderton off tackle, wrapped up, bear hugged, and dropped.
Kostelecki with a great tackle up high on Christian Anderton.
44-yard line, third down for the T-Birds at the 44. 5:20 left on the Pepsi scoreboard here, quarter number 3. Empty backfield for Buell, as he will have Michaeli and Hesford. Check that, Miller and Hesford to the near side. Buell, 5 receivers into the pattern. He's back to pass. He steps. He throws. He's got a man. That's Hesford. Hesford knocked out of bounds at the Central 26-yard line.
Nice 18-yard pickup on third down for Cheyenne East.
East Central football. Tell you what, there's no better game every year.
Well, and a great job by Allmiller, who ran the in and gave Hesford a great pick play, as we see a lot with the New England Patriots. A similar play right there ran by the Thunderbirds.
Empty backfield again. Buell taps his chest, and the snap comes back. He steps. He throws. He's got a man. There's going to be an interference call all over the back of Allmiller. Was Johnson.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy call. Johnson got there a little too quickly.
The only thing he didn't do was rope him. I mean, that was right. It. He was on the back of Allmiller, so that will be 15 freebies.
Well, for Allmiller, still held catchless, but right there, you can almost give that 15 yards to Allmiller after a great route getting inside of Johnson there.
And actually, that'll be half the distance, so it should be to the 13-yard line after it's marked off.
Great. I don't like non-5 numbers with the penalty yards.
It makes 13, it's a 13-yard penalty. Half the distance. First down at 10 for the Thunderbirds. How quick are they answering back to this?
Just about 3 minutes here on this possession, and they've already taken the ball well over 3/4 of the way down the field.
As Buell sizes up the defense. Again, with an empty backfield. Hesford on Miller to the near side. He'll send Hesford in motion. Back to pass. Buell steps, throws, incomplete. Both Schroeder and Miller were there. It went in between them and incomplete in the end zone.
Give credit to Jimmy Koenig on defense for Central. If he's not able to get in the face of Buell and Buell has an extra second, he may have one of those receivers, as there was no help up top for Central.
And you saw Buell basically throw that one off his back foot. So it's now 2nd down and 10. Ball on the 13-yard line. Again, T-Birds can't get a first down if they hit their 3. Anderton with the football. Off tackle. Inside the 10. Driving, still driving, and taking some East tacklers with them. And a late flag comes in to the 5-yard line. That'll be an 8-yard gain, but let's see what we got. We may have holding against Cheyenne East.
It's tough to see the hand signal. It's either holding or face mask.
It'll be face mask, and it'll be incidental, and that will be enough. That should be tacked on at the end of the run, and that would move them half the distance to the goal, to the 2.5. That'll be a first down.
So great run by Anderton, not just the second effort, at the third, the fourth, and then his buddies came to push him the rest of the way.
And the Indians grab the face mask. So it's 1st and goal for the T-Birds. Oh, my. This drive started on their own 5-yard line after the Anderton bobble of the kickoff. Speaking of Anderton, he's to the right of Buell. Handoff, Anderton straight ahead, drives the pile, but he will be driven back short to the 1.
Won't be shocked if you see one more chance for Anderton, or maybe a nice little RPO, and see if Buell pulls it out of the belly and hits the quick over the top.
Quickly, Anderton again bottled up, and this time will lose yard back to the 2. They tried to go on the quick hitter, on the quick count, and no avail.
Here comes Vigil, some extra reinforcements now as they bring in a tight end.
And again, Vigil, he's a pretty big cat. He's 6'2" and 195 pounds. Ball on the 2-yard line. 3rd down for the T-Birds. Tick, tick, tick goes the clock on the Pepsi scoreboard as it's now at 3:45 here in period number 3. Buell. Back to pass, rolling to his right, rolling, steps, throws, got a man, touchdown!
That's Jackson Hesford, I believe, with the touchdown in the back of the end zone.
Hesford making the 3-yard reception, and the Indians and the T-Birds could be tied pending the Ox-Schroeder PAT.
Which we've seen Schroeder kick. It's not given from the place.
And he is kicking into a breeze, according to this end zone. A 95-yard drive. Placement is down. Kick is up. We're tied, 14-14. 3:34 left on the Pepsi scoreboard. Quarter number 3. Back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Along with Johnson, they're not too deep. They're around their 15-yard line as Goff will kick it away again. Goff has not really put a big foot into it, trying to keep it away from Johnson.
Yeah, you could tell that's been the game plan. It's been going right where you see Labados and Talich at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, as they put their better hands around the 30-yard line. This kick will come down and it checks up. Lobatos picks up at the 35 and maybe the 36. Boy, that was interesting.
I wish I could get my pitching wedge to do that.
on this turf that has a lot of tires on it, crushed tires. Yeah. It's almost like you can throw a ball on here and it bounces like 60 feet high.
Right, exactly. Well, it's been working as even though we've seen Central with some fairly good field position, you would say this is probably decent field position here. But this is going to be a big stand. As we said, the first half was won by the defenses. Well, in this quarter, you'd have to say the offenses have come out on fire, which we thought they would, especially with the adjustments made by both coaches.
And again, too, as I said, you never count out a Chad Goff team. They came back and struck with vengeance, especially from their own 5-yard line. Handoff to Lundberg. Lundberg breaks free. 48-yard line of the 48 of Cheyenne Central. What a big run there. 12 yards by Nate Lundberg.
Lundberg hasn't had too many carries on the season, but here he's had 2 big pops, one of 10 and that one of 12.
Just a good old-fashioned dive to the left, and it's a first down for Cheyenne Central with the ball on the 48-yard line. Talich out on top along with Brock Storbo, Brady Storbo, and Johnson to the near side. Lobatos the lone back in the backfield. Again, out of the gun is McCleary. He turns back to Lobatos. First down and 10, Cheyenne Central. Low snap. They'll give it to Lobatos, and again, with the low snap, that kind of messed things up, but I give Carter a lot of credit. Almost got back to the line of scrimmage as his knees touched down. They're going to give him the 47, and it'll be a loss of 1.
Julian Vigil was the first man in and did a great job holding on for dear life, because if he doesn't hold on there, Lobatos for sure will be able to get some type of positive gain.
So one of the rare low snaps there from Jimmy Koenig. Second down and 11 for Cheyenne Central. Brady Storbo in motion, and they will try to go to Storbo. Knocked away by Hesford across the way. It'll be third down.
Apodaca running way over to the officials, wanting a flag called on Hesford. It looked like good timing, though, at least from up here. Of course, he probably had a little bit better view as it was right in front of the Central bench.
2:27 left here in quarter number 3. Third down and 11, Cheyenne Central. As McCleary will move the alignment around. He'll bring everybody in tight with Johnson and Brock Storbo here to the near side. Talich on the wing on the far side. Now they'll check off.
It's almost like a pistol type wing tee there.
Well, yeah, like a flex bone. Now in motion this time will be Johnson. Back to pass goes McCleary. He looks. He fires. Almost picked off as Miller was reading the eyes of McCleary and knocked it away.
I'll tell you, Miller baited that throw. He just was an instant late.
And that would have been the ever-lovely pick 6 if Miller would have got that one. There would have been a lot of all-weather turf in front of him.
And for Chance Miller, who had 7 interceptions to lead Class 4A last year, that would have been his first interception on the season.
Back deep will be Hesford, and he will be joined by Miller for the T-Birds. The snap is back, flag is down, and Johnson hits it nice. And it will take a central bounce and then curves, and the Indians will down it.
We'll have to see what the flag is, but a great punt by Johnson. The flags came out right away. I don't know if
it's going to be on the Indians. I do believe it's going to wipe out a great punt by Andrew Johnson.
I have a feeling East will take this one.
You think? So with that being said, they're going to march the Indians back 5 yards, and they'll reboot it from the 43. Well, Johnson hit that one perfect. And again, too, as it went over Miller's head, it checked up around the 5-yard line, then made a left turn and was down at the 3.
I'm telling you, golf season's about over, but some of these checkups, I'm going to start playing golf here at Okie because I can't get my golf ball to check up like this.
Oh, I'd love to see you take some of this turf out of the field. I'm sure somebody would be on you like a rash. It is fourth down for the Indians, about 4th and 16. Snap is back. Again, this time it will end up in the hands of Miller, and he's dumped right away. Woo! He got dumped at the 19-yard line, so it'll be first down and 10.
Now the officials are coming together. Miller had signaled for a fair catch. Now, of course, it hit the turf. So I think that takes away the fair catch symbol.
Right. There is a flag down. And if they're going to call an unsportsmanlike conduct against Cheyenne Central, that one's going to be tough to call there because Miller jumped up. It wasn't the intention to upend him. And they're going to wipe it off. And that deservedly so. There was no malice intended on that particular punt.
No, I mean, there's not a lot you can do. A guy jumps up in the air. You're not going to wait for him to come back down and give him a chance to plant his feet and make a move on you.
2:13 left to go here in period number 3 as Graydon Buell and the East offense will check back onto the field. 14-14 our score here from the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. Buell out of the gun. Back to pass. Steps, throws. He's got him, man. That's Miller. 25, 30 with a stiff arm on Talich as he will fight his way to the 40-yard line.
The first catch for Miller, and it's on a rare time where Johnson was not on him as they faked the bubble screen. Miller finds a nice little hole in their secondary and a great run after the catch.
So Miller, the senior, worked on the sophomore and straight-armed him for about 10 yards. Hand off to Anderson. Anderson breaks off tackle, cuts it back against the grain to the 49-yard line, and that's a pickup of 9.
Nice job there by Anderton, keeping his head up the field. Great cut inside for 4 extra yards.
It's 2nd down and 1 with about $1:51 left to go here in the period. 14-14 our score. Boy, you woke up a sleeping giant, the Indians did. Buell back to pass. He's flushed, rolling to his left, gets over the 50-yard line. Labatos grabs him at the 49 and throws him back. If they give him forward progress, it would be midfield, maybe the 49 of Central.
Well, it looks like the contact was made on the central side of the 50, but they're going to call it back just inside. They're going to say it's a no gain
at the
for
49. Buell. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 for East. I think East got jobbed out of a couple of yards there.
Right, because it should have been for the initial contact was made, which was on the 49 of Central side. It should have been a 1st down.
So obviously they said that Buell was still trying to break away from Labatos. He was dropped at the 49. Hand off to Anderton. Anderton fights his way maybe to midfield. I think he's got the 1st down as he's just inside Central territory in between the 50 and the 49.
Be the 16th first down for East.
Fresh set of downs for the T-Birds as we're under a minute to play here in the quarter.
The 21st carry for Christian Anderton tonight, 73 yards.
Anderton will line up to the right of Buell. Down low for Cheyenne East will be Miller along with Hasford. 2 dangerous receivers in that arsenal for Buell, who's back to pass. He's looking for Hasford. Hasford's got a step. Can't make the grab as he had a couple of steps on Brady Storbo.
I think that was Jared Dilley. He had the couple of steps on.
Was that, I'm sorry, is that 27? No, 80, it's 87.
I think it's 81.
I'm sorry, 81. Yes, my eyes are that bad.
But it was a big miss because Hasford had a Not only
it
did
was
he
a
have
stop-and-go pattern.
Right, a stop-and-go, and there was no up-top help.
So it is 2nd down and 10, stopping the clock with 26 seconds left. As Buell again retreats into the gun. He's back to pass, fires quickly to Miller. Miller dragged down quickly. That time by Johnson and a little help from Labatos as it will be down at the 42-yard, they'll say 43, so it'll be 3rd down and long 3. And we probably won't get this play off. So after 3 periods of play at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex, it's still in doubt. East 14, Central 14, back after the 60-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. as the Thunderbirds come out throwing the football to Anderton. I think he's going to be short of the first down by about a yard as they kind of flared one out of the backfield as Buell will hook up with Anderton. It's 4th down and about a yard. They're at the 41-yard line of the Indians. They need to get just inside the 40.
I like the call here going for it on 4th down for Coach Goff.
This is where you need Buell to really hit a hard count and get the Indians offside. Buell to Anderton. He crunches forward, and he'll have the first down. Wrapped up at the 38-yard line.
That was a good hard run by Anderton. He was not going to be denied at least that first yard. He came out there, again, hate to use this cliche, but came out like a cannon.
And Dilly wrapped him up, but unfortunately for the Indians, he had enough for the first down. 1st and 10, ball at 38. Back to pass goes Buell. He's under a heavy rush. Still on his feet and may work his way back to the line of scrimmage. Boy, I'll tell you what, the protection broke down in a hurry, and Buell was trying to get free.
Yeah, good job by the interior defensive line, too. Buell stepped up, and there were the defensive tackles just waiting for him.
Loss of 1, so it will be a sack for the Indians. 2nd down and 11. Ball right now on the 38. Buell, long count. Anderton gets outside, loses his balance, regains his footing, and will be close to a first down. That was a great individual effort by Anderton. He got tripped up around the 34 and had enough presence of mind to regain his balance. It'll be 3rd down and short.
Not only to regain his balance, but then carry a couple of defenders a couple of yards as well.
Needed to get inside the 28-yard line. The ball right now on the 29. 3rd down, high snap, handoff to Anderton. He'll have the first down. He punches it forward down to the 26, 1st and 10.
Anderton starting to get going. It took him a few carries, but we're starting to see the dividends that pays for him only playing on one side of the ball. He's getting stronger as this game goes on.
So for Cheyenne East, fresh set of downs, hash mark to the near side. Out of the gun. Fake the handoff, back to pass, stepping, throwing, man wide open, touchdown, Chance Miller.
The play action was wide open there because Anderton running the football so hard, and Miller and Buell finally able to connect. It's the 14th touchdown for Chance Miller this season.
Great and Buell hooking up with Chance Miller from 26 yards out. And the T-Birds back on top, 20-14. Schroeder on to attempt the PAT out of Buell's hold. Nice play action by Buell for the touchdown. The kick finds its way through, and good. East 21, Central 14, back after this 30-second timeout of 1480 KRAE. Back on top after trailing about midway through the 3rd quarter, 14-7. They've reeled off a couple of touchdowns, and the Indians woke up a sleeping giant in Cheyenne East. Now the Indians need to answer back.
Chance Miller on that drive, 3 catches, 54 yards to cap off with the 26-yard touchdown.
Talich along with Labatos, they are up. Johnson is back. This kick will come into the hands of Talich. Talich immediately is surrounded and dropped.
Well, in Talich, he had about 5 yards of nobody in front of him. Instead of running north and south, went east and west.
And again, was waiting for his wedge to form, and it didn't. So first down and 10 for Cheyenne Central. Ball on their own 32-yard line. A lot of football still left here at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex.
There is, but this is an answer drive. This is a statement drive right now for Central because East has all the momentum, 14 unanswered points. It's time that you've been hanging your hat on this offense all season. It's time to put it right back and put the pressure right back on East and on their defense.
So the senior quarterback, Dawson McCleary, with his underclassmen team on the offensive side, they'll come out first down and 10. Lundberg will be in the backfield along with Labatos as they will line up in that offset I. McCleary out of the gun. He will send Labatos in motion. McCleary rolls to his right. There's a flag down. It'll come back. Caught by Labatos as he will be dropped at the 40-yard line, but that one will come back. It will be a little bit of motion by Cheyenne Central.
I believe Brady Storbo got a little bit of a head start there.
So on the false start, the Indians will back themselves up, and this is what they didn't need.
No, not on the first play, especially when you look at the play. It was a good positive first down play. It looked like an 8-yard catch and run for Carter Labatos.
First down 15, Cheyenne Central. Ball right now on their own 27-yard line. Johnson will come to the near side. Split out on top is Brady Storbo. Offset I. They'll hand it to Labatos. Labatos wrapped up quickly and dropped. Maybe to the 27.
I believe that Bradley Whitwright was the first one there to get his hands on Labatos.
And we'll call it a no gain on the play, second down to 15. Well, the T-Birds woke up their fan. And again, after the Indians had scored, boy, this place got quiet. All of a sudden now the fans are back into it. And the Indians need to answer back. McCleary checks off. Now we'll reset the play. He's got Brock Storbo on the tight end side to the near side. Back to pass. McCleary steps, throws, got a man coming back for it, and they might get back to the penalty yardage as Johnson makes the grab at the 32.
I think you're right. Hey, Johnson, again, McCleary throwing on the run, not able to throw it on target.
Third down and 10 for Cheyenne Central. Pepsi scoreboard, 8:15 remains in this contest. Lundberg and Labatos along with McCleary. McCleary checks off again.
Seen a lot of more two-set formations, two running back set formations than we've seen all season for Central.
Yeah, trying to give some extra protection for McCleary. Back to pass goes Dawson. He steps, he throws. He's got a man wide open. That's Labatos. Labatos down the sidelines. 30 to the 20, cuts it back. Loses the football. Oh, my. It's picked up by the Thunderbirds.
Chance Allmiller with a big touchdown, and right there with a big play on defense, stripping the ball away from Carter Labatos.
Labatos was inside the 20 and lost the football. The second fumble by the Indians tonight.
Larry, you couldn't get a better play call there either. It was an all-out blitz by East. They hit the swing pass to Labatos. McCleary threw it right on the money. It looked like a huge play for Central and a chance to take some momentum back, but it's the senior, Chance Allmiller, coming up with an even bigger play.
That could have been almost 6 for Cheyenne Central. They were going for the tie right there with Labatos. First down and 10. Cheyenne East, ball on their 19-yard line after the fumble. Buell, hash mark to the far side. Anderton, and he goes nowhere, and he'll be dropped for a loss.
Good first play for this defense for Central, as you would think if you're East, you would have tried to go with the big one right after a big momentum swing like that, but Central answering the bell on defenses. This is a big stand needed by the Indians.
Drop for a 2-yard loss. Second down and 12. Buell back to pass. He steps. He throws. Coming back for it is Michaelite. Michaelite to the 30. He could go all the way. 50 to the 40. He's got one man to beat. That's Johnson. Johnson corrals him at the 21-yard line. And good job by Andrew Johnson getting back to save that touchdown.
Well, Michael, I had everything set up right in front of him. It was untouched to the 21-yard line. Unfortunately for Michael Johnson, a bit faster, catches up with him. Good job there by Johnson not to give up on the play.
I thought Michael had 6 there because he had a few yards in front of him, and then Johnson tracked him down. First down and 10 for the T-Birds at the 21. Clock winds down. Now the clock is the big friend of Cheyenne East.
61-yard play there on that catch and run by Michael
Buell. Anderton. He can't go anywhere, and he'll be dropped for a loss. Tanner Bullock.
I believe Carter Labatos also in there on the tackle. Another big loss off first down, a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, that'll drop him back to the 24. So it'll be second down and 13. East very dangerous on this down. Back to pass goes Buell. He steps, he throws, he's got a man, and it's going to be caught.
Wow, what a catch by Hesford. With the hand in his face, he's still able to get it around the contact. I believe that was Uriah Furrow on the coverage.
Hesford makes the grab. It's first and goal at the 3 for Cheyenne East. Buell with Anderton to his right. First down and goal. The snap is back to pass. Buell dumps it down low. I do believe they're going to call that one incomplete, or is it a catch?
I believe it'll be a catch.
They're going to say it's a catch by Ottmiller at the 1. Second down and goal.
It's a big play right here for Central. You got to do everything you can to keep East out of the end zone.
Buell underneath center. He'll try to take it in himself. Nowhere to go. Wrapped up, dropped. One of them was Jimmy Koenig who threw him back.
Good job there. This front 7 and really the front 4 for Central. You can't say enough. We talked about it from the get-go. Could be one of the best fronts that East has seen all season. Central right there showing the grit and trying to keep East out of the end zone. Big third down here for Cheyenne East. Wouldn't be shocked if you see a timeout called.
And that's exactly what we're going to get, a timeout. Third down and goal when we come back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE.
Take a quick look at our scoreboard as it's 24 unanswered points for Thunder Basin out in Rock Springs. They now have 22 points. It's 24-14 in the fourth quarter over at Fight Bison Stadium, and they're tied up in the third, 28-28. Sheridan has the lead over Gillette or Campbell County in Gillette. That's in the second. It's 14-7, and it's all in Natrona County in that crosstown rivalry, 24-0 over Casper Kelly Walsh.
The Oil Bowl not shaping up to have the significance as our Capital City Bowl. It's been a fun one here, and the Thunderbirds right now looking to possibly take all the wind out of the sails of Cheyenne Central. Third down, goal, ball on the 2-yard line. Buell out of the gun, fakes the handoff, throws it into the end zone, knocked away by Andrew Johnson.
If Andrew Johnson gets his head around, he picks that ball off. But good job there by Johnson to get in the way of it. Now, big-time decision here. Do they kick and get the 3 points, or do they try to put their foot on the throat of Central and make it a 2-touchdown lead? They got the block out, so it looks like Schroeder will attempt the field goal.
This will be from extra point try. At the 10-yard line, it'll be a 20-yard kick. Schroeder, Buell hold. Snap is back. Placement is down. Kick through the uprights and good. East at the 4:59 mark leads 24-14. We're back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE.
5 team in Class 2A, Burns, up 26-0 over 1A Pine Bluffs. That's in the second quarter. Out there, of course, here.
Battle I-80 East, and again, keeping our eye on that Laramie South score. They have been going back and forth, 28-28 over at Fighting Bison Stadium, as Coach Gallus looking for his first win of the year. Boys, Central is up tight. They've got Labados along with Johnson and Talich. They are all right around the 30-yard line. Back deep is Roman. This kick end over end to Talich. Talich looking for some blockers, 35-yard line, and trying to drive forward and drop back around the 37. First down and 10, good field position, I guess. With the Cheyenne East philosophy on this one, they're not afraid to sacrifice field. There is a flag down on the play. Usually that would be in the form of face mask.
And it looks like that's exactly what it's going to be.
A personal foul
against East. So that's a free 15-yard. This is Central. This is the last thing you want to do if you're East.
And
don't give them 15 yards.
It puts them into East territory. Holy Toledo.
So for East, they've scored 10. No, I was right. 17 unanswered points.
Yeah, it was 14.
Trust my math, right?
That's right. You know, you're an instructor. What can we say? You need a calculator, right?
Exactly. I'm not no math instructor, that's for sure.
First down and 10, Indians with the ball inside East territory at the 47-yard line. McCleary, offset eye, operating out of the gun, hands it off to Labados. Labados drives forward, and another face mask will be called on the East Thunderbirds this time as Labados is stopped at the 42. You saw it, I saw it.
Yeah, that was, it's bad when we can see it up here.
And so did the side judge as he saw it, and that'll tack on. Again, it's an incidental.
Wait, it looks like it will be just short of the first down, though. No, he's going to move it.
No, it'll be short. Ball on the 38. Indians needed to get just shy of the 37. Again, the clock, not their buddy right now. McCleary fumbles a snap, and he's going to have to eat it. And he'll be dropped at the 41-yard line. That is the second bad snap by the Indians tonight. Ball on the 41-yard line.
And McCleary's been able to handle the bad snaps for the most part. There, though, when you do those timing run plays where it's got to be in his hands in a hurry, especially hip high, if it's off just by a little bit, it ruins the timing of everything.
Third down and 4. Or check, that would be second down and 4. Back to pass goes McCleary. He's looking long. He's got a man. It's caught by Brady Storbo. Brady Storbo makes a grab at the 16-yard line, out of bounds, as he had about 8 inches on Ox Schroeder.
Yeah, kind of a great read, one by McCleary, but no chance for Schroeder as Storbo caught it at its high point.
First down and 10 for Cheyenne Central. 16-yard line of the T-Birds. McCleary with Lundberg. Labados behind him. They'll pitch it back to Labados. Looking for a block from Lundberg. He gets it. Inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. Second down and 2 for Cheyenne East, the Central.
And this is exactly what Central needed. They got some help with the personal foul. They needed a quick score. They still have all of their timeouts, so not like they have to go for the onside kick if they are able to score here in a hurry.
Pepsi scoreboard, 3:41. Ball inside the 10. McCleary steps, throws, he's got a man. That's Johnson as he flares it out. Johnson inside the 5 to the 4 to the 3. So first down and goal, Cheyenne Central at the 3.
Another high percentage throw by Dawson McCleary. Wanted to go one-on-one with his guy versus Onmiller. Good job there by Onmiller, though, to wrap him up long enough for his teammates to get there.
Hash mark to the far side. Lundberg, the lead back. Labados drops the ball. McCleary will have to fall on it at the 4.
At the 3:10 mark, that could have been game over if McCleary doesn't get that on top of that one.
McCleary was holding it out for Lobatos. He forgot to take the ball.
Now we'll see a timeout as Coach Apodaca needs to make sure this is a precious possession right here with 3 minutes left.
3 minutes exactly. East 24, Central 14, back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Proietti, Chris Polton, Nick Proietti here at the Oakville Blanchard Sports Complex. Pushing the buttons back home is Trowa Elbert-Armstrong. Here's what's going on. Central, after the timeout, second down and goal from the 4. They trail by 10. Need to punch it in, as Chris mentioned before the timeout. Offset eye. McCleary out of the gun. Fakes the handoff. Throws into the end zone and overshoots Brady Storbo, incomplete.
That was thrown about 97 miles per hour. Max Scherzer was impressed with how much sauce was put on that one.
Third down for the Indians. Again, only 4 seconds elapsed from the clock. Indians on the hash mark to the far side. They need to punch it in. The field goal, could help, but makes it awful difficult to come back and get that touchdown to tie. McCleary drops his mouthpiece, puts it in, picks it up, and will hand off to Lobatos. Lobatos gets a block from Lundberg, but nowhere to go as Lobatos tried to go off tackle, spun around, dropped at the 3.
Well, and the clock was, that looked like it was stopped, but what I don't like, Larry, you throw it on second down, you might as well throw it on third down, especially with the clock not in your favor. Now it's a fourth, and you have to have a touchdown here. Now they're going to kick the field goal.
Tegan Tippett's on to attempt the field goal. Again, this will be like for a PAT, as he will have Johnson hold it around the 11, 21-yard attempt. And we got movement. I think it might have been East first moving. That might change the whole complex if East complexion, if it was East moving.
It is on East.
It's an encroachment against the T-Birds. That'll move them to the 2.
Don't know how much it will change at this point at the 2.
This will be just a regular PAT, as actually Johnson will slip inside the 10 at the 9. So a 19-yard field goal attempt now by Tegan Tippett. Snap back, placement down, kick is no good. Off to the right. East will take over the football at the 20-yard line. That's the chance you take.
Well, you needed 10, and as much as we were talking about, you would love to score the touchdown first so a touchdown can give you the lead, not tie the game. But all of that's null and void because of a chip shot missed just to the right.
Well, for the Thunderbirds, they'll need maybe just one first down, and then they can go into victory formation. Central has 2 timeouts left. 24-14 our score. It was 7-7 at the intermission. Central jumped out on top midway through the third period, 14-7. And the Thunderbirds, as Chris mentioned earlier with his abacus, reeled off 17 consecutive points midway through the third period all the way here into the fourth quarter. I think you see a diet of Christian Anderton right now for the T-Birds.
Just all about ball control for East.
Hand off to Anderton. Anderton breaks away from Lobatos and slithers his way to the 26. It will be second down and 4. Clock now under 2 minutes to play. Coach Apodaca in a wait-and-see mode on his 2 precious timeouts.
Talk about a workhorse in Christian Anderton. That was his 27th carry for 90 yards. He's also chipped in with 3 catches as well. Anderton, a big part of this offense here tonight.
So for the T-Birds, it's second down and 4, across the way on the hash mark on the far side. Long count by Buell. No hurry to get this thing snapped. Back to Anderson. Anderson again crunches his way to the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2. And quickly the Indians will use their second timeout with $1:21 to go. 24-14 our score. We'll be back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. It's been the East Thunderbirds. Prior to that, it was all Cheyenne Central. And the T-Birds look like they're on their way to victory. They got 81 seconds to go. If they get a first down here, I think you could stick a fork in Central. They'll be done. 3rd down and 2. Anderson caught him in the backfield and dropped for a loss.
Cardo Lobatos.
And the last timeout called by Cheyenne Central with 70 seconds to go, 77 seconds. 24-14 our score. We'll be back again after a 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE. Birds are going to have to boot it away, Chris, after the timeout. Oxschroeder is back deep. For the Indians, it will be Lobatos and Johnson. They're right around the midfield stripe. Actually, they'll retreat back around their 45-yard line. Again, we'll see the ever-lovely, well, actually, this one is off the side of the foot, and it will take a central bounce, and I mean a big bounce as it's dropped at the 42-yard line.
So 2 quick things, Larry. Do you try to get yourself as quickly to the 20 and kick the field goal, or do you just try to score and hopefully you could do it quick enough to where you can get the onside kick and kick a field goal? One of the strategies is now, or one of 2 strategies, Apodaca's going to have to run through his head.
He's going to have to. I think he's going to have to go for the quick 6. I think that's it. I was surprised that Schroeder did not go after the rugby-style
right.
punt.
It may have worked better than the punt that just went out.
A very short punt for the Indians. Ball on their on the east 42-yard line. Lobatos the lone back in the backfield. McCleary back to pass. Going long. Looking. Get him, Ed! Caught! Johnson at the 5-yard line. Oh, what a play! Quickly, the Indians without any timeouts. They got to get down. The clock is stopped while they'll set up the chains. It's 1st down and goal for Cheyenne East.
Well, that's the last thing you needed for East is to get anybody behind you.
McCleary will drop it on the ground. Incomplete.
Nobody's made a signal, though. So the clock is still running.
The clock is still running.
They're going to say it was a fumble.
McCleary did not get the snap to drop it on the ground. Tick, 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 37 seconds left. McCleary over the middle. In and out of the hands of Brock Storbo, incomplete. He was harassed, I want to say, by, was it Lamb? Number 11?
Number 11, yeah, Hayden Lamb was in on the coverage. Just a 5'9" senior, so a size advantage there, but for David, out-dueling Goliath there in the end zone.
3rd down with the ball right now on the 7-yard line.
And how about all that time that was wasted for looked like Dawson McCleary was trying to stop the clock. They called the fumble instead.
3rd down. McCleary sends Lobatos in motion. He'll call his own number, and he will be dropped at the 10. It'll be 4th down for the Indians.
That's things that make you go, Larry, why? I don't understand why you would try to run a design QB draw there. You need the clock to stop.
15 seconds. The Indians can't stop the clock. So McCleary on a 4th down. Possibly the game's last play. McCleary rolls to his left. Steps up, throws, got it! Touchdown! Brady Storbo makes the grab in the end zone with 3 seconds left. 24-20 our score.
The 3rd touchdown thrown by Dawson McCleary.
How big is that miss from Tegan Tippett?
Huge now.
3 minutes ago.
And how about the non-ability to stop the clock by spiking the ball as well? A lot of little mistakes here tonight for this offense.
So Tippett will attempt the PAT out of the hold of Johnson. It's 24-20. This Capital Bowl has delivered tonight. Trust me. Snap is back. Placement is down. Tippett through the uprights and good. 3 seconds remain. East 24. Central 21. The onside kick when we come back after this 30-second timeout on 1480 KRAE.
Look at our scoreboard as we get set for probably one last play here. It's a final in Rock Springs. Thunder Basin completes the comeback 24-14. It's late in the 4th quarter at Fight Bison Stadium. Laramie with a 35-28 lead at half in Gillette. It's Sheridan 20, Campbell County 7. And in the 4th quarter, Casper Kellywall still being blanked by Natrona County 27-0.
Here we go with the possibly last play of the game. This one is going to have to be pooched, and no, they're going to go for the onside kick. Central cannot recover it as a flag comes down. There's 1 second left. It will be East football, and the T-Birds will take the ball right there.
Well, it's everything that you could possibly imagine here tonight with two teams fighting for more than just pride in beating your rival. This had home field implications on the line as the winner would be the stay in the 4 spot as East will stay there.
And Central will remain in the number 5 hole with the Rock Springs loss because Central holds the tiebreaker over Rock Springs. Speaking of Rock Springs, that's who we'll have next week, Cheyenne East and the Tigers right here at Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. It'll be fall on ball on 1 game set match to the Cheyenne East Thunderbirds, as they will send out Vigil just to make sure that nobody touches Buell.
Well, Buell will actually take this under center as well. We've usually seen him take it.
And there it is. The T-Birds improved to 5-2 this season with a huge comeback midway through the 3rd quarter into the middle part of the 4th quarter where they put up 17 unanswered points. And they hold on to beat Cheyenne Central. Final score 24-21 at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. Again, East 5-2. Central's 4-game win streak snapped. They're now 4-3. We got to take a 2-minute timeout. We will be back after this timeout right here on 1480 KRAE. Final score, Cheyenne East over Cheyenne Central in the annual Capital Bowl, 24-21. And this one was not over realistically until that final kick by the Indians.
Well,
but I'll tell you what, this had everything tonight.
It's something that we talked about on Wyoming Sports Talk today here on 1480 KRAE, at least throughout this week, that in my opinion of how evenly matched up these teams were and how hot Cheyenne Central was heading into this contest, it was something that we thought it was going to be a situation of whoever had the ball last was going to win this contest. Well, it got close there. Again, it was competitive through quarter number one, first second of this contest, all the way up to, again, with 3 seconds of just seeing what Central was going to do on that kickoff on an onside recovery. But, again, you can't ask for anything more here in Class 4A between these two. Again, the rivalry is back. It is something that both teams are now kind of on that even playing field, competitive. And, again, this was a huge contest that mattered a lot coming up for the play, at least for the postseason.
This is what high school football is all about here tonight. And, again, these guys all know each other. They play baseball together. They do other activities together. This is the way things have been done in this town. Even the young men from South, they all get together at one time or another. And, you look at this rivalry between East and Central, which goes back many years. And, again, it's still in favor of the Indians. But in this century, East has been the top dog. And, again, here at Oakview Blanchard Sports Complex, they continue to dominate. But the Indians on the other side of the coin were their own worst enemy tonight. Again, you look at the Carter Lobato's fumble as he got inside the 20-yard line. You look at the Tegan Tippett's missed field goal. I mean, there were so many intangibles that just played against Cheyenne Central.
And again, it's turnovers that you can afford against a Kelly Walsh of the world, of the Laramies, that Central did at least have a few turnovers, but again, played down to that kind of lower competition here in Class 4A. This is an East team that sees those turnovers, takes advantage of them, and puts points on the board some way, somehow.
And again, with this great contest, don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, as we get to the end of the season, that the East Thunderbirds are playing host to Central in the first round of the playoffs. I'd hate to see that because I want both teams to win in their opening round, but it looks like Central, if we look at the schedule, Nick, Central goes to Natrona next week. They're going to need help from East as they host Rock Springs. Then the Indians will wrap up.
Will actually be back in town, at least because, again, they're in Cheyenne for the next.
I'm sorry, they will host Natrona, and then they will host Cheyenne South. Realistically, they could go 1-1 in their next 2 games. For the T-Birds, they've got they got Rock Springs next week, and they should be able to beat Rock Springs.
And then at least for Cheyenne East to wrap up Class 4A, at least regular
they
season,
go
up
Sheridan.
to Sheridan to see the Bronx to kind of wrap up that season. So, again,
I think this solidified East into that at least no worse than 4th in the top of the heap. Again, with the Thunder Basins, the Natronas, the Sheridans. So, again, the Thunderbirds needing this big win tonight, they got it, and they now are 5-2. The Indians 4-3. So again, with the loss, Indians still in 5th place because Rock Springs also got beat by Thunder Basin. We'll be back to the Oakview Blanchard Sports Complex. Let's take a 2-minute timeout. You are listening to high school football right here on 1480 KRAE.
Blanchard, where East is able to come away with the 24-21 win. Now joined by a couple players. We'll first talk to the quarterback, Graydon Buell. You know, it's a tough go of it in that first half, really, for both teams. The defenses really came out, and really that front four. I talked to Coach Blunt earlier today. He said that front four is probably one of the better front fours in the states, and I'm sure that you got first-hand look at it. They were for real tonight.
Oh, yeah, they did a great job. Their middle linebackers did a great job filling. They were a great D-line. It was fun to play against them.
You and Chance usually find each other early and often, but they did a great job. Not only did they have Johnson, who did a good job on them, but a lot of safety help. What was it, though, in that fourth quarter where you guys were able to get him loose?
Oh, Chance is hard to hold the whole game. He's in such good shape all the time. He's always running all over the field. It's hard to hold him for 4 quarters. I don't think anybody really can. And when they hold him in the first half like that, he gets a little fired up, and he doesn't like that, so yeah. he makes plays like he's a player.
And then this guy right here next to you making a great touchdown, grabbing the back of the end zone, defensively doing the job as well. You got skill positions, that go deep. Probably some guys we didn't even see. We didn't really see Michael a whole lot. He still made an impact. Mm-hmm. How nice it is as a quarterback where you can call on any number and have amazing confidence.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, to be able to throw to him, Cole, Ox. Mm-hmm. All of them, Chance. It's amazing. Christian out of the backfield. Sometimes he's split out. It's amazing. It makes my life easier because they can't just key on one guy. And then up front, we did a great job. I mean, I can't make any of those throws without those dudes up front, and they do a great job of reeling them in. And sometimes I don't make the best throws, but they always find a way to adjust and catch it. Just your all-over team effort.
Just your second year in Cheyenne, but I'm sure you know about this rivalry, and it was going to be a big game. A lot more on the line tonight than any years in quite a while. Potentially home field advantage. How important was it to get this one tonight, and finally, better yet, to get that close game to fall in your favor as well?
Oh, it's awesome. We've dropped a few close games, so to be able to come out here and pick one up, it's great because it gives you so much confidence going into the playoffs, going into the rest of the year. It's great.
Cool. We'll go ahead and pass it off to Jackson here. Thank you very much, Graydon. Jackson, we're going to first talk about the probably one that you want back is the out route to Storbo where you were just an instant late, but the adjustment you made. The very next possession, they tried to do the same thing. How excited were you that you got another chance to get in there?
It was very exciting. Dawson threw it a little under him, so I had a good read on it, and I wasn't going to hold back, and I just went for it, and it ended up my way, so it was good.
You knew tonight you probably were going to see 84, 87, probably a little bit because they like to bring them outside. Yeah. What did you do in practice to get yourself prepared to cover somebody like the Storbos?
I mean, it was hard because we don't have anybody that's 6'5", 6'6", and so it was just all mental, all mentality, stay tough on them, and just compete.
And then lastly, you got a gunslinger like Mr. Beal here who makes time after time just continues to throw you guys open. How nice is it being able to know as long as you're doing your job, running your route to your timing, the ball's going to be there?
Oh, it's such an amazing feeling to have a quarterback that's able to throw like he is on the dot and be able to move around in the pocket and create stress on the defense, and it helps us a lot, and it's a great feeling.
Well, to both of you guys, congratulations on the big win. You guys stay in that top 4 in the Class 4A. We'll take a 2-minute timeout. More postgame right after this on 1480 KRAE.
Back on our postgame show, we get to talk now with Cheyenne Central head coach Mike Apodaca. Before we get to that, real quick here, we want to mention that congratulations to Dan Gallus and the South High Fighting Bison picking up their first win of the year as they beat the Laramie Plainsmen at Fighting Bison Stadium 36-35. I know Coach Apodaca has the Fighting Bison on the final regular season game, but we'll get into next week's contest against the Trona coming up in a bit. Let's talk about this one. Again, it's a tough one to swallow, but again, the fans got their money's worth tonight. This was a great game.
Yeah, it was a great high school football game, and it's good to be a part of this rivalry and tradition. And, we came up on the wrong side of it. But I did feel like, we're a better football team today than we were yesterday. And that's really, what we were hoping to do. It'd been nice to get a W out of it. But, I thought our kids played hard. So yeah, it was a good game.
A couple of bad breaks with the football. Carter, I thought he was going to go all the way. You got to give Miller his due for stripping the football. And then you look at what happened to Tegan Tippett. After hitting that big 40-yarder last week at Casper Kelly Walsh, unfortunately chanks it off to the right. But, credit to your team. You bring him back down. Dawson McCleary, the senior, he's so comfortable in your offensive set right now and gets you into the end zone. At least gave you a puncher's chance at the end.
That's what we talked about all week, stay in the fight, and I thought the kids did that. That's the one thing I can say is they stayed in the fight, and, we had a chance at the last play of the game, and you can't ask for much more than that.
All right, so really with all that happened tonight, you were number 5 in the standings right now. East secured themselves in that top 4. Rock Springs lost. They come here next week. They've got the Thunderbirds. You're at home cooking, and technically being here today in Cheyenne. So for the remainder of the season, the Trona as well as Cheyenne South. But the Mustangs, yes, we'll give Coach Harshman the due. They're a good outfit, but you've proven over the last few weeks you go toe-to-toe with anybody.
I hope our kids understand that. That's the biggest thing, and we talked with you, Larry, this week, is, we looked really at this as kind of a playoff round. Is in order to win in the playoffs, I always say you got to beat playoff caliber teams, and we just had one, didn't get it done. We got another one coming, and that's the kind of opportunities you want right now.
And again, East Central, we know what that rivalry is all about. I think the young men out there got a little gist of what it's all about tonight. But what's the mood of the team after this game?
I think ultimately they know probably let one slip away, at least, had the opportunities. There's no doubt on that. But, we've got to get back to work tomorrow and go. And every week this team has done that. And so I don't expect anything different from that. We got to move fast and get ready for another big one.
Final thought, and I'm glad you mentioned about getting back to work tomorrow, because this team has, as we've talked, has been getting that eagerness to get out there and let's play football, coach, and we want more. We want more. Do they come to work, whether it's tomorrow or Monday, do they come back and, coach, we need to get back on track?
Yeah, they're learning that, Larry. That's the one thing I think, and I don't know that it dealt with the win and loss, but we are a young group. I mean, we start 3 seniors and, we started 5 sophomores tonight, and this is a learning experience for them, and that's what we're trying to build, is them coming back hungry tomorrow and feeling, that energy of being in this kind of game. So a lot of teaching going on right now, really, and, it'll pay off, down the road.
Final thought, and again, your second year as a head coach here at your alma mater, Cheyenne Central, and again, you've been a part of these East Central rivalries as a player, now as a coach, and as you look at your team, are you seeing that maturation? Again, you got a lot of young guys, but are you seeing that forest through the trees, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. Every day at practice, even with the weather conditions early in the week in practice, they were eager and wanting to be out there. So I really do. The one thing I can say about this group is every week they've gotten better, and as a coach, that's really all you can ask for. So I'm ready to go to work with them again tomorrow.
All right, Coach, good luck against the Trona next Friday night. Again, we'll have you coming up against Cheyenne South over at Milt Risky Field. We're going to take a 60-second timeout. We'll come back with more of our postgame show after this right here on 1480 KRAE. Back to our post-game show, we get to talk to Victoria's head coach Chad Goff. And Coach, again, in your tenure here as the East High head coach, you've seen a lot of East Central matchups, but I think the thing that we're seeing with the Central football program, it's coming back to life under one Mike Apodaca.
Yeah, no doubt. I think he's done a great job with the kids he's got. He's got some kids out that weren't out previously and working hard, and they had a great game plan tonight. They executed well. He's got to be super proud of his team.
The thing for Cheyenne East tonight, the win, again, keeps you in that top four, so to speak, as you move to 5-2 right now. And, again, you'll welcome Rock Springs in. But, size up the importance of this win, not because it was a rivalry game, but just – beating the opponent.
Yeah, this win gives us that opportunity to still have that chance to have a home playoff game in that first round, and that's pretty important. And so having a win like this tonight gives us that opportunity.
When I said on the broadcast, and I was chatting with you briefly outside, when Central went up 14-7, I said, you've woke up a sleeping giant. You get the ball on the 5-yard line, you march it down 95 yards, and then the next thing you know, you're scoring 17 unanswered points. That's a tribute to your kids that, you threw the bone out to them and said, hey, guys, this is what we need to do. And your kids always answer those challenges.
Yeah, I thought they responded well. We made a little adjustment on offense, and the kids picked it up. And like you said, they just went out there and they competed a whole lot better at that point. Like you said, I think they kind of got woke up because when we started that third quarter, it was about as ugly as a start as you could ask for.
You look at your junior quarterback and Graydon Buell. Anderton was cut, pretty much chopped down in the first half. Miller was also kind of silenced. But, when you needed these guys to rise, you could always put the ball in their hands.
Yeah, I thought we had some athletes truly step up in that fourth quarter. That's what we talked about down there after the game was just how they all stepped up. Chance and I had a conversation at the end of the third, and we talked about how this is what he lives for right here, is this competition. He loves to compete, and I thought he had a great fourth quarter. I thought Jack did a great game tonight. He's challenged a lot. He was all over the field, did good things. I thought Anderton ran the ball so hard and got a lot of yards after contact. And then Graydon's Graydon. I think Graydon just keeps us all together, and you always have an opportunity to make a play down the field with Graydon.
We're going to move along. Rock Springs comes in, new head coach Mark Lenhart, former Cheyenne Central grad. Central has beaten them if we have a common opponent there. You know enough about Rock Springs. I think the good news is you get them here instead of over in the Tigers' den.
Yeah, over you're talking about my tenure. Over my tenure, we've had really good matchups with Rock Springs. We've played them in blizzards like 3 years in a row. We've had 1-point ball games. We've had overtime ball games. We've always just played those guys to a tough game, and we expect the same next week.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you all the best. Thank you. And, again, I think the fans or even the alumni of East Central matchups, again, it's just another game for you to coach out there as far as wins and losses. But I think the fans on both sides got their money's worth tonight.
Yeah, no doubt that these families should be proud of the kids, their kids, and how they competed. And I think everyone should go home proud.
All righty, Coach. We'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, guys.
And we'll catch you up with you next Friday night. We'll be here at the Okie Blanchard Sports Complex. It will be the T-Birds playing host to the Rock Springs Tigers. Again, East 5-2, Central 4-3 after tonight's activities. We'll come back. We will run down the scoreboard. Chris will be back in here, and we're back after the 60-second timeout. Quick rundown on thank yous to our fine sponsors, Kuzma Success Realty. We also want to thank the Wyoming Department of Transportation, Aero Moving and Storage, B&B Appliance and TV, Baskin-Robbins, Billy Adelman with the LCCC Flight Crew, the Bread Basket Bakery, Burns Insurance Company, Capital Lumber Company, Charles Schwab, Shine Auto Repair and Service, Chick-fil-A, Fat Boys Tire and Auto, First Education Federal Credit Union, Foot of the Rockies, Halliday Motors, High West Energy, Joed Produce, Kia of Cheyenne, Laramie County Community College, CRMC, Cheyenne Regional Medical Center, the Injury Prevention Program, and First Tier Bank. We'll thank the rest of our sponsors coming up here in a bit. Quickly to you, Chris. What do you got?
It's stats for tonight's game. As far as Central goes, Dawson McCleary ended at 15 for 25 for 198 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an INT. Carl Labatos, 12 carries, 36 yards, 3 carries for McCleary for 5, 3 carries for Lundberg for 21. Johnson ended with 6 catches for 73 yards. He was headed out of the end zone, though, for Brock Storbo, 3 catches for 71 yards. He had a 46-yard touchdown in the second quarter. Brady Storbo, a couple of touchdowns for him, both 6 and a 7. He had 5 catches for 50 yards. Labatos had a catch for 13 yards. Of course, the big catch that he had was nullified because of the fumble. That looked like Central would be able to tie the game up at 21-21. For East, Graydon Buell, big night for him once again from behind the line at 19 of 29 for 277 yards, 3 more touchdowns and clean on the pick side of things. Christian Anderton, 29 carries, 90 yards. Haugen added 4 for 27, Buell 3 for 6, and Schroeder 1 for 4. 4 catches for Chance Allmiller, all in the fourth quarter, 56 yards and a touchdown. It was a 6-yard touchdown that put up 21 to make it 21-14 in the fourth quarter. Schroeder had 3 catches for 60 yards. Hesford, 5 catches, 59 yards. He also had a 2-yard touchdown. Christian Anderton, 3 catches, 23 yards. He had a 15-yard touchdown. Michaelai, 3 catches for 72 yards, and Haugen a catch for 7 yards. And those are your final stats from tonight's game.
And a quick check on our scoreboard. We'll look at it one last time. Let's get an update from you.
South, with 16 seconds left, go for 2. They win 36-35 over Laramie, so the Fighting Bison get their first win on the season. Thunder Basin scores 22 unanswered points in the second half for, I think it's the 4th straight week in a row. They've come from behind from after being down at half, 24-14. That was in Rock Springs. Casper Kelly Walsh is blanked by crosstown rival Natrona County, 27-0 there. And in Gillette, it's Sheridan all over Campbell County, 34-7. That game's still in the third quarter.
And speaking of Gillette, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Cheyenne South is at Gillette next week. Cheyenne Central will play host to Natrona at Risky Field. If anything, for Central, they got home field advantage for the next couple of weeks. And next weekend, we will be right back here at the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. It'll be Cheyenne East entertaining the Rock Springs Tigers. Real quick, we want to thank again, and we also need to get that score on Burns and Pine. We want to thank MHP, LLP, Lennox Auto Body, Little Philly, Mary's Mountain Cookies, Medicap Pharmacy, Meridian Trust FCU, Merritt Plumbing and Heating, Page and Zach Lane at Number 1 Properties, Pepsi is Shine with our Pepsi scoreboard in favor of East tonight, 24-21. Pete's Builders, Platte Valley Bank, Taco John's, the Gill Window Company. Again, we thank all of our wonderful sponsors for being a part of our program. One last score we have to throw.
It's in the third quarter. Burns up 40-3 over Pine Bluffs.
All right. Well, again, we want to wrap it up here at Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. Thank you to Nick Proietti. Another great job on the YouTube as well as the Periscope via Twitter. And again, keeping us on the air back in the house, we want to thank Trowa Elbert-Armstrong. So for Chris Polton, I'm Larry Proietti. We say goodnight from the Oakey Blanchard Sports Complex. We're back here next weekend. Again, Cheyenne East and Rock Springs. Once again, our final score on the Pepsi scoreboard. East winning the Capital Bowl over Cheyenne Central, 24-21. I got a feeling that these two teams will probably see each other again in a rematch, and it might be for a lot bigger stakes. We'll be back. Actually, we'll be back here next Friday night. We now return to regular programming on 1480 KRAE.